You sure you want a bat bruising?
Oh, there will be no bruising.
Oh, yes, there will.
A bat breeze, maybe.
Here it comes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You sure you want this?
No, dude, I'm not scared.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, here goes.
I'm waiting.
Man of Steel was not inspiring.
Now that's just hurtful.
You blinked.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rolling 20s. We are the show that wasn't invited to Miley Cyrus's birthday party, but that's okay. We didn't want the free syphilis she was handing out. I am Jeremy.
Jesse.
And V.
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others in the MSP library at missionstarpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes and on Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at mspfreight@yahoo.com. The theme music you heard was by Machine Supremacy. You can find most of their discography for free download at machinesupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums on amazon.com. The clip you heard at the very beginning of the show was Verses by the Super Cafe. You can subscribe to their channel, How It Should Have Ended, on YouTube. How's the evening?
All right.
Shooting aliens.
So it's an average evening for you.
Making a mine.
Making what yours?
Making a mine. As in to adventure in. As in to torture.
Oh, okay. Making a mine. Because at first I heard making it mine, and it's like, okay, the cat already belongs to you. And then I heard making a mine, and it's like, shit, do I need to call Homeland Security?
No, I'm not attempting to conquer the...
Right, I now understand your context. You're making a mine where people will adventure in. Okay.
Yes.
Understood. Got it. No, it's just been an up and down week. You know how it is before Thanksgiving. Everybody's trying to finish something as quickly as possible, and nobody does it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting ready for my own Thanksgiving getaway, which reminds me, we will be off for Thanksgiving. We will not be around simply because I will not be around, and it sounds like half of us will have shit to do, which is cool. You know, I understand we're video gamers and comic book nerds, but occasionally we still have people that want to see us. That's fine.
You know,
right.
Friends, family, life.
I know what two of those words are. No, but we're going a little off script because we were supposed to get together to discuss The Killing Joke. However, I got a last-minute email from Chris Hare, the Warcabbit, who's willing to tell us more about the City of Titans project for Missing Worlds Media. But before that, we have to get through our usual news, and it's been varied this week. We do have our Kickstarter corner, which has 2 items in it instead of 1. Pretty soon it's going to be 1 again. Because we have our last mention of the Indiegogo for Accent Wear cat ear headphones. They actually, their Indiegogo finished as of the 22nd of the month. It had 18,130 backers at the end. Their goal was $250,000. They ended at $2,931,081.
Good
wow.
Lord.
Yeah, I have a feeling that in about a year, these things are going to be every frickin' where I try to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let alone, I just found out that this is a local product. This is the brainchild of 2 UC Berkeley students.
Damn.
Yeah, so
nice.
They'll probably be out here first. Oh my, I wonder if they'll be out by Comic-Con. That would be hell. Seeing all these people walking around with cat ears thinking, that's cute. Then suddenly music starts blaring out of it, and I've got mixing music in my ears, and this fucking sucks. It's one of my few pet peeves at a con. If a couple people want to share their music, that's cool. When everybody wants to share their music, and it's so easy to get your iPhone plugged into a pair of speakers nowadays, it turns into a mess.
Yeah, that's true.
At least that's a personal outlook. Some people dig it. There's just too much mixed messages. If one person's into K-pop, the next person's listening to J-Rock, and somebody else is playing Korn, a few people are playing Papa Roach, and all of a sudden it's just all this freaking noise. Then if somebody comes through wanting to play, Evanescence, then I want to kill myself. But it's a successful... Yeah. It's a successful crowdfund for a project. Wish Accent all the best. If you want to sling a pair of headphones my way, really appreciate it, but not looking for it. The only other Kickstarter I have is one we mentioned last week. There's fans that got together called the Sekai Project who are working on getting an English release to the anime Clannad. They wanted to put together money for it. They have a Kickstarter that ends on Friday, January 9th. It currently has 2,953 backers. The goal to get this started is $140,000. Currently sits at $237,027. So it's going to be another anime that's getting a release. They actually have 10 different backers who got in at $1,000 and filled up the $1,000 donation rank.
Huh.
For that, they'll get a digital copy of Clannad on Steam, a digital download of the Clannad Mabinogi Arrange album, an 80-page Clannad fan book, Kickstarter-exclusive Clannad t-shirt, two B2 size Clannad tapestry and digital copy of the complete 3-CD Clannad original soundtrack, 3 printed Kickstarter-exclusive Clannad mini shikishi, extremely rare Kickstarter-exclusive autographed B2 size Clannad tapestry, and autographed physical copy of the game. Holy frick!
That's a lot of shit.
And that's at the $1,000 level. They're actually giving you a pretty significant amount of stuff. They actually have one person out of 3 who's donated $7,000 to this project. It sounds like you get everything I mentioned above, but in addition, you'll get a one-of-a-kind hand-drawn shikishi by the illustrator of Clannad, Itaru Hinoe. You can choose a single character for the drawing. No other request will be considered, like pose, props, or clothes. So this guy, you give him a character, he'll draw it for you, but don't tell him shit about it. Wow, this is an amazing amount of stuff they put together. And I thought this was for the anime. I guess it's for the Clannad game. This is for the... this is for the visual novel, then they want to bring it through the Steam market. Well, either way, it's already happening unless a bunch of people suddenly back out.
Not likely.
No, not in this crowd, no. That's not terribly likely. So we will move forward with our news of the week, starting with video game news. There's already been images probably leaked from Telltale's version of Game of Thrones. Their character models look astonishingly close to the TV show. I know Jesse won't have much of a reference point on this, but V.
Give me link.
Wait, say that again?
I said give me link.
Give me Link, give me Link. I don't know who Link is.
Link?
Sorry. I'm jacking with you. Stop. No, you can take a look at that. If you scroll down the images, they do look a lot like their TV counterparts.
The Tyrion is really good. The Cersei lacks a certain... Yeah, they all lack a certain quality, but...
Well,
yeah,
again,
the model
these are
is
leaked,
pretty good, yeah.
For all I know, these are before finishing touches have been put on them all.
Right.
What's her name? I can't remember the name of the young lady from the Flowers, the one who's marrying the king.
Marjorie.
Thank you. Marjorie Terrell. She looks almost dead on, complete with those wide pupils she has.
Yeah. It always looks like she's taken something.
Yeah. And Ramses Bolton, man, he's as creepy as ever.
Yeah.
I have not played the Telltale Walking Dead games, but I've heard wonderful things about them. This game, unfortunately, I'm enough of a fan of the Game of Thrones TV show, I'll probably look for this. I'm going to lose money.
I know enough about the Telltale, so it's very story-driven.
Well,
That's
yeah,
a good
I like
thing,
story
generally
stuff.
speaking.
Yeah. I mean, look, dude, I like Destiny for the gameplay. Story isn't great. Maybe it's time I tried the opposite. Let's see. World of Warcraft is reporting that after Warlords of Draenor came out, they had a spike of 2.6 million subscribers.
Yep. Not surprised.
So the game is back over 10 million. That's great news for Blizzard. The only question I have is how long this will last.
That's always the question. Imagine it lasting maybe about 2-3 months.
I haven't heard a whole lot of direct reports or reviews of the game, but I can't imagine it's changed the play style at all.
No, they just dolled it up from what I could tell.
There's no new playable characters, right? That you're just getting new mission content.
Yeah, new mission content.
Okay. I worry about that because, and the other thing to ask is how many of these 2.6 million are not new players but returning players. We'll never get that statistic because nobody would ever want to break it down that way. But hey, we're wishing the best. Did you guys hear about the World of Warcraft subreddit?
No.
Oh yeah, I heard
I
about
mentioned this to Jesse once. This is insane to me, V. There's an unofficial Reddit for World of Warcraft. It's not directly connected to Blizzard, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, after Warlords of Draenor came out, there was, as you can imagine, a long queue line to wade into World of Warcraft. Our own photographer on Mission Star Podcast, he had his computer open for 3 hours. And by the time I talked to him, he still had 50 minutes, very likely, before he would be able to log into the game.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah, now this was not an isolated incident, though. There's a lot of people waiting to get into the latest version of the game. One of the moderators on the World of Warcraft subreddit, unofficial subreddit, Nightsmoke, apparently took umbrage to this. And when several people waiting to log into Warlords of Draenor were bored and decided to log into their Reddit accounts, they found out they couldn't get into the World of Warcraft subreddit.
It had been
And then when they went on Twitter, they found out one of the administrators, Nightsmoke, had shut down the Reddit. He actually posted in a tweet dated November 16th, "From this moment forward, our WoW will be made private until I am able to log into the game," unquote.
Okay.
He literally threw a hissy fit about not being able to log into Warcraft in a succinct amount of time, and therefore shut down the Reddit. Now, this piece of news almost made into what the fuck, because, frankly, what does punishing your Reddit users have anything to do with your ability to log into a game?
I think he's just trying to, light a fire under Blizzard's ass to, get it done. The thing is, there's already a bonfire there.
Yeah, what did he expect? Some people are going to log into the Reddit, find out he's pissed off about World of Warcraft, and then suddenly start messaging Blizzard. Yeah, he's right. I shouldn't be able to log into my Reddit until you fix your stuff. Yeah. Did he not see the simple answer of, fuck you, neckbeard? So, and there were several responses on Twitter that basically said, why is this my fault? The most eloquent of it was probably by Zarhim Deadeye on Twitter, who said, quote, "I've always appreciated what you've done, but our WoW shouldn't be a hostage. It should always be there for the community," unquote. I mean, that's the logical response. That's a sensible response. Not usually the internet response, but that's the way people should treat it.
Mm-hmm.
A lengthy response was in the archive of RWoW by the time it came back up. It says, quote, "Yesterday, RWoW went private for a small amount of time. Nightsmoke, the previous moderator, was angry at a variety of issues and took RWoW offline. Nightsmoke made a mistake. A big one. I'm going to simply ask that you stop trying to get back at him. It's over. He's not on the moderation team here. Nobody here is on board with how he handled the situation. We will not handle the situation in the same way. Nightsmoke has apologized to me and through me to you, and I apologize as well. The original message here was different, and it's available as a comment in this thread. The intent of this is transparency. I'm not trying to sweep anything under the rug. I'm trying to put out the right message. I think the right message is now things got messed up. We understand that. Nightsmoke made a mistake. We're working on setting this right," unquote.
I'm glad they fixed it.
Yeah, I wonder how long before that apology came out, because there was a Reddit user campaign to have Nightsmoke removed. So I wonder if the owner of RWoW did that himself. Well, not the owner, the central Reddit moderator did it himself, or if he actually heard the petition and just said, you know what, this isn't worth the trouble. Because either scenario is likely. Still, though, at least I understand. If we have trouble logging into City of Titans, I will shut down this show until they put it up.
Sure you will.
Maybe I should start now. Yeah. Maybe we should start now. There is a new game that is, it looks like is coming out from NCSoft called Project Hone. You guys know anything about this?
No, first
Nope.
I've heard of it.
I have a video. Of course I have a video.
Always. Give me the video.
Gimme.
God, gimme. I see a giant mecha being airlifted. No, check that. I see something that looks like the final fight from Transformers 3. Huh. I wonder if you can actively shoot from these things as they're coming down. That would be an interesting thing. Go in hot, trying to defend yourself from anti-aircraft fire. Bitch. Did that thing just gun down and yank down a helicopter?
Explosions.
Wow, this... I can only hope the game is actually this brutal. If not, it's going to be a tremendous letdown to me.
Well, it's in Korean. It's likely going to undergo at least a few changes.
Yeah, the South Korean game. Holy crap, he just picked up that Hummer like it's a riot shield.
Numbers are armor that hell might as well be a riot shield.
This looks like it could be insane.
That's huge.
That's a tank.
Fun.
Ooh. So it looks like it could be a combination of PvP and some PvE content here. Potentially. Or it could just be a whole bunch of cinematics and we're being cheesed.
It looks like, in-game footage. Doesn't feel like a cinematic.
Is that some kind of
That reminds me
transforming
of Bumblebee.
gyroscopic robot?
So basically
Holy
it's
crap.
a mech game, I guess.
Yeah, this looks like everything that's in Titanfall, except it's all in one size. If the gameplay stays that frantic, this could be a lot of fun. I see a wrestling-style test of strength between robots, and he's about to ECW him with that shipping container. Okay, am I so much of a sucker that a few slick visuals will get me interested in a game?
Yes.
Unfortunately, both answers are correct.
I guess
Okay.
the answer is yes, but does it matter?
Probably not. It was only a 2.5-minute clip, but I must say, that was awesome.
Indeed.
I'm now fundamentally curious about Project Home. Now, it was reported earlier this week that there was a major PSN network hack. There was a group that took responsibility that said that they were looking for more exposure, and according to another hacking group, they thought the right way to get that exposure would be to release the account names and logins of several accounts across, let me see, 2K, whatever that is, some Microsoft Live accounts and some PSN accounts. Now, a lot of people freaked out and started changing passwords. It's always a good idea to do that when you suspect something about your online security. Here's the surprising part. There was an update to the story that says that this whole thing may have been a forgery. The hacking group responsible, and it doesn't say who, the alleged hackers also took credit for a DDoS attacks recently.
Mm-hmm.
They put up a paste bin with all the account info. When several people started going through the accounts, they found out that only probably around half the accounts actually exist. And when I say that, they took some of the login information, namely the email addresses plugged into the various networks, and what they found out is maybe half of the accounts actually exist, the other half don't. And the ones that actually exist, they couldn't use the password information to get into any of those accounts, so they assumed that this may be old information. Furthermore, the 2K Game Studios they mentioned, the login information they got from 2K Game Studios, 2K Game Studios doesn't exist at all. There's a bunch of 2K games out there by a few different makers, but there is no 2K Game Studios. So it appears this may have been a gigantic put-on. I want to know what kind of bored individual you have to be to fake a hack.
And we call them troll.
I would, troll of some kind. I could see a teenager doing it.
I suppose. It just seems like one of those things that's a tremendous waste of time. Because in the end, you produce nothing other than a bunch of people changing your password. So even if you have old information, pretty soon it's going to be worthless information.
So this is the time we put on our tinfoil hats and scream conspiracy.
With aluminum foil. It had to be done. I have another video here. There's another Korean company who is making a first-person shooter based on Ghost in the Shell.
Oh. Yeah,
it looked like it was shown off at the G-Star convention in Korea this year. Want to see it?
Sure.
Shoot.
There it be. It looks like it's actually a Project IG and Studio Kodansha release. That's interesting. Oh, the opening cinematic is pretty slick. Look, I see boobs. And again, it's a Korean video, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised.
Moderately tasteful boobs.
When you say tasteful, do you mean well-concealed or something you want to eat?
Yes.
I think finally about 45 seconds in, we're actually getting the game footage. Wow. I wonder if they can keep up this pace. Ooh, cybernetic upgrades are possible.
Fun.
It looks like you're playing as prefab characters, though. At least from the initial indication is that you're playing as the characters from Ghost in the Shell. You're not creating an extra cop to exist in this world. I do like the idea that you can run and smash through windows instead of having to shoot them out to pass the barrier. I don't know. This isn't the first type of game I would seek out, but it's one I'd like to try.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Ghost in the Shell, but this looks fun. Well, if I was into this kind of game, this would look fun, which I might be. I don't know.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell is one of those future dystopia stories where the internet has progressed to be almost as real of a place as the real world. You can log into it with your full mind and everything, and there are some people who've become cyborgs, usually by medical necessity, not generally by choice.
Uh-huh.
In the case of the main character, the one with the chest you saw, her whole body is fake. She is basically a brain and some organs.
Wow.
This, if I had to guess in a modern allegory, this looks like a futuristic version of Counter-Strike.
I could see that.
The gameplay is obviously more complicated when you have drones and camouflage to allow 3 people to hide behind it and create a firing line and everything. But it does have that same kind of fast-paced, anything can happen in a moment feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
This seems very cool. I look forward to finding out more about this when it's done. Oh my god, they even do the giant rolling crab tanks. This will have some fanboy screaming in glee.
Oh, that's Steve now.
Waffle. Yeah. The last bit of video game news I have is actually an error. We've been talking on and off about the amiibos that are coming out by Nintendo to, they're kind of like Skylanders or Disney Infinity. They have small collectible figures. You can scan them into games and add characters into them, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, part of the release of amiibos is Samus Aran, the lead character from Metroid, complete in her gigantic suit. But there was actually a problem with some of the initial release. I don't know how deep this goes, though. I will send you a URL. I imagine that Jesse, probably more than V, will be able to tell me what's wrong with this particular figure.
The waist is tiny, tiny, tiny?
Well, Samus is a girl, so technically it's kind of what they want. Jesse, do you see what's wrong with this thing?
Oh, why does she have 2 cannons?
That's the exact problem. Now, from the story on Yahoo Games, what apparently happened was there was a scanning error of some sort when they were designing the character. And because of the scanning error, both arms were turned into blasters. Yes. Now, this has been released in addition to regular figures, so it looks like there was only 1 or 2 runs that may be out like this. You can bet that this double gun Samus will probably be one of the most expensive figures on eBay in about 2 hours. These things released as of yesterday, November 21st. Friday. So, yeah, you can bet there's probably Hare Samus all over eBay by now.
You know what they could try to do? Nintendo could probably milk this and make this a feature in a later game, where should you have 2 arm cannons like that?
It could be. Or it could be that they just start chopping off the arms of them and say, this is your Luke Skywalker version.
Luke before he goes to the medical facility.
We call this the ass-scratcher version. Now we have Marvel media news. We got a couple bits that have actually come through, and some of it's relatively interesting. First off, we know that Idris Elba, he plays Heimdall in the Thor movies thus far.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have been one of my top... He would have been one of my top 3 picks for a Black Panther. You know, I wouldn't care if he was used in 2 roles. You make up whatever Doctor Who style excuse you want. Turns out that's not the only role that he may be considered for in Marvel's movie history, except he may not be doing it for Marvel. There's a rumor popping around that was put out on WeGotThisCovered.com that says that Idris Elba may be being looked at by Fox to play Apocalypse.
Huh.
Oh, that's fun.
Not the first guy I would have thought of, but I would think he could do it. There was also a rumor going around that they wanted Tom Hardy, the guy who played Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, to do it. But I don't know. Either one of these is technically possible. Hardy has been using the word apocalypse in his speech a lot, apparently. Who knows what the hell that means? Speaking of the X-Men Apocalypse film, though, there is actually an idea that Fox is looking at particular actors to play the young roles of Jean Grey and Cyclops already.
Oh?
Yeah, for the role of Cyclops, it looks like on the list of people is Ben Hardy, Charlie Rowe, and Timothée Chalamet.
I don't know.
I have no idea who any...
Yeah.
Neither do I. I've never heard of these names before.
Nope. Me neither.
Supposedly this is a short list to play Scott Summers. They also have a short list to play Jean Grey. And those, 2 out of 3 I've heard of. They have a short list supposedly of Haley Steinfeld, Elle Fanning, and Chloe Grace Moretz.
I don't think I know any of those
lost.
either.
Elle Fanning, she's been in a few projects on and off. She's Dakota Fanning's, I think, younger sister. Chloe Grace Moretz, we all know who that is. She played Hit Girl in the Kick-Ass movies.
Oh!
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I can see that. I think.
Oh, if you want to talk psychotic psychic, I mean, yeah. So, I could see her definitely doing that. We all know that Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out on DVD and Blu-ray as of the 9th of December. So that is coming relatively soon. James Gunn had a recent post on Facebook on Saturday where he reposted a statement made by an offended DC Comics fan who took what he said the wrong way.
Okay.
Now, to clarify, James Gunn, during an interview by IGN, was making a comparison between the Marvel and DC cinematic universes. And Gunn responded to a question that IGN asked about Darkseid being the prime choice for the main villain of the DC cinematic universe, to which he said, quote, "That would be pretty weird. That would be a strange choice," unquote. That was his response. Now, a DC fan decided to weigh in on him and posted this, quote, "Hey, James Gunn, fuck you if you have a problem with Warner Brothers and DC movies. Then you could go fuck yourself in your movies. Not the best. Your movies are not the best ever. DC is just as awesome and exciting as Marvel. Watch your fucking mouth. Thanks," unquote.
Okay.
Jeez.
That was a hell of an overreaction, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Well, Gunn posted that statement to his Facebook, and mind you, there was only one period in all of that at the end of that particular quote. His response to this was, quote, "I'd like to say I'm dumbfounded as to how this line of thinking has caused controversy, but I'm not. If there's one thing I've learned in my years on the internet is that people love to be outraged and look for any chance they can be so. Love you all, even the outraged ones. Batmite for life. Love, James, unquote.
Batmite.
Hey, everybody has their weird fandoms. You're a brony. I mean, you can love Batmite.
I haven't heard that name in a long time, so I was just...
Obviously, you haven't watched the Batman Brave and the Bold episodes.
I try not to.
It's actually very entertaining. But in the vein of Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn has said that the Guardians of the Galaxy sequel will lead to more cosmic movies rather than tying to the Avengers. But
Okay.
Chris Pratt was asked if he would like to make an appearance on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though, as Star-Lord.
Did he say hell yes?
Actually, his quote was, "I wouldn't rule it out. Marvel would have to decide, but if it made sense for the brand and for the story, yeah, sure," unquote.
That sounds like a thrilled endorsement to me.
That sounds more like just write me a fucking story.
I'll do it.
I like how V volunteered. That's awesome.
What? I like his character.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not making fun of you. We got a little bit of news as well on Captain America 3 Civil War. This makes me even more curious as to what's going on. According to comicbookmovie.com, reports indicate that the central character of Captain America Civil War will not be Captain America, will not be Iron Man. It's going to be the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
All right.
Now, I wonder how he fit into this. Remember, we talked about last week how Daniel Bruhl has been cast as the movie's villain, except nobody has mentioned what his role is in this movie. That leads to a lot more questions than answers to me as to what's going on here.
Hmm.
I don't have a straight answer. I can't even guess right now. I still think that it's very likely they'll kill Cap at the end of this, but at the same time, that's only a guess, and I'm more confused by this than ever. We did also hear, though, that Frank Grillo has been recast to reprise his role as whatchamacallit. God, I can't remember the name of the character now. Fuck.
I at a loss.
I don't know what you're looking for.
I will know in a second.
Wikipedia.
Now remember, here we go. Frank Grillo was cast as Brock Rumlow in Captain America Winter Soldier. If you remember,
Who's
at the
that?
end of the movie, he was injured but not dead. Frank Grillo is the character that becomes Crossbones.
Ah.
Crossbones is the character in Captain America 25 that took a sniper's rifle and fired it into Captain America's stomach and killed him. So, draw whatever conclusions you want. Now, last week, we kind of scared ourselves because we found out how Doctor Doom is going to be portrayed in this new Fantastic Four reboot film, where he's going to be Victor Domashev, a blogger who goes by the screen handle of Doom. Well, we've got more here as to what the other characters in the Fantastic Four are going to be like. I almost wish we had Steve here, because he might scream in agony. Reed Richards? He is a genius convenience store clerk.
What?
He is a super smart convenience store clerk. Somebody call Kevin Smith, because I think there should be a lawsuit here. Not only that, he's a clerk with his best friend, Ben Grimm. Reed's parents don't care about him, and Ben's dad is abusive. This does sound like it's the Jay and Silent Bob of superhero movies, frankly.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Not only that, they have each other's backs. Reed writes a paper to a community college on teleportation that attracts the attention of Dr. Franklin Storm, CEO of the Baxter Building Research Center. Now, Dr. Storm has a son named Johnny and an adoptive daughter, Sue. So now we found out how there could be a black and white, Sue and Johnny Storm. Sue's father, Storm's old partner, died in an experiment gone wrong. Oh my god, he turned into Apocalypse. And then of course we have more information about Victor Domashev here. Now Storm uses Reed's paper to write some equations to to make a machine that goes to another dimension, obviously the end zone or negative zone.
Okay.
And long story short, they're all Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Storm are exposed to otherworldly energy from the teleportation thing and become mutations with powers they can't control. Dr. Storm takes them to the Baxter building and creates containment suits for their powers. But for a grounded, realistic approach, this sounds like a whole bunch of bullshit.
It sounds like
Not only
something
that-
I would have watched back in the 80s.
Oh, not only that, it gets better. Doom finds out how the four acquire powers and becomes so angry it's not him that he comes up with a plan to break into the Baxter building to access the end zone through the rebuilt machine.
Really?
And as a distraction, he reprograms a bunch of stolen military drones he calls Doombots.
Oh my.
This sounds
It sounds like a teenager
this-
wrote this.
actually this makes the Rise of the Silver Surfer sounds like fucking Shakespeare.
I don't know why that's funny, but I'm laughing.
Oh, I can't wrap my head around this. This is painful.
You know what? Take away the Fantastic Four titles and names, and it might be an interesting movie. But now it's called Fantastic Four. There are certain expectations.
We are the superb quartet. I don't know what the fuck you call this mess. There is actually a report that Marvel's moving forward with their Netflix series. Remember how they have cast Daredevil? They're already filming it.
Yep.
Next up in this list was supposed to be Jessica Jones. There is a rumor that surfaced that says that they're working on a short list to cast Jessica Jones. They're looking at potentially Kristen Ritter, Alexandra Daddario, Teresa Palmer. And, excuse me. Sorry. They're also looking at Jessica DeGo, who played a crossbow-wielding vigilante huntress on CW's Arrow.
Oh.
So that supposedly is the short list of individuals to play Jessica Jones. What I didn't expect was that they're also looking to cast Luke Cage. The character is supposed to appear in the second half of the Jessica Jones series already. So that'll be his first appearance. Not in his own series, but in the Jessica Jones series. They're already looking at the actors of Lance Gross and Mike Coulter, both who are recent TV regulars. I think Coulter was actually the one cast in the new Halo series, Nightfall. Well, this is progressing pretty quickly. I mean, the only rumor we haven't heard yet is who might be Iron Fist. And I think Iron Fist was supposed to be the... I don't remember if Iron Fist or Cage is supposed to be the third series. I know this is supposed to end in the fifth miniseries of the Defenders. I really hope they add in a couple more characters, though. If it's just the four in that might be a little bit narrow. But then again, V's the one who pointed out the rumor that Squirrel Girl may be in this one. Well, she did.
I know. I'm still amazed that I came up with that.
Personally, I would be thrilled to hear the word nutsacks used on TV.
Oh my god. You would.
Well, yeah, I'm funny. Last thing I got is that Chadwick Boseman talked a little bit about his casting as the Black Panther. And he revealed a few things in a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly. One, he hasn't tried on the costume yet. I'm going to assume that means they haven't given it to him. Two, while he's not a super fan of comics, he did read them a lot as a kid, but he didn't know anything about the Black Panther until the last 10 years or so. Three, his names have been attached to rumors for some time, but he didn't actually officially speak to Marvel until a few weeks before the announcement last month. Four, he didn't really have an audition process. It was just kind of a discussion about what they wanted to do and how he saw what he would like to do. It was more like they just kind of called him in and felt out whether or not he was the guy. And finally, he doesn't think there's a screenplay for it yet. He thinks all that's being worked on right now. So if he's being honest about not being in costume, that doesn't belie the fact that he could be, the character of the Black Panther outside of the uniform yet for Age of Ultron, but it sounds less likely that he's making an appearance in the movie. What's his real name? King T'Challa, that's right. So, that's interesting to note, but it does make me wonder where exactly he fits into all this. We have some DC media news as well. You remember the redesigned Batgirl, the one that's supposed to have a little bit more campy of an approach?
Yeah.
The purple leather jacket and everything?
Yeah.
They decided to make a statue out of that.
Really?
Except, yeah, DC's putting out an official statue release. I like it, but I don't like it, and here's why. They're making the statue of this new Batgirl as part of their black and white release.
Huh?
The black and white releases are recreating several of the DC characters in black and white and gray tones. Now, I don't have a question why they're doing Batgirl. That's obviously one of the most recognizable female characters they have. My question is, when you have a character that's dressed in damn near head-to-toe purple, violet, and dark blues, why would you make it a black and white release? Shouldn't you start out with the actual colored character first? Nothing? You guys got nothing?
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
If your characters are going to have to do with colors, they're going to need to show colors.
I don't understand it. And I've read Batgirl 35 and 36. The new take on Barbara Gordon, very vibrant, funny character. It almost feels like a few issues of Hawkeye, frankly. The latest one that Matt Fraction did, the one that's kind of campy, but he's still doing very superheroic things.
Uh-huh.
Feels a lot like that. So I just don't understand why this particular approach.
Well, I was thinking that with the black and white, you don't have to deal with a lot of colors, so they can figure out mistakes ahead of time and just using black and white.
Yeah, but again, the whole release is black and white. The statue is going to be black and white and gray tones when it reaches people's hands, so I don't get that. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm on your side with this. I think unless they've got subtle, instances of some color.
Yeah. But they don't have anything. They don't even color the character's eyes, which is just kind of sad. Speaking of not understanding things, the star of Arrow, Stephen Amell, he is not very happy with the announcements that Warner Brothers made regarding the movies in the DC lineup.
Really?
And he's not unhappy for himself. He's not unhappy that he hasn't heard anything about a Green Arrow movie. What he's actually upset about is that DC has made it very clear that for the Flash movie, they're not casting Grant Gustin as the Flash. They're bringing another actor to play that role.
Oh, yeah.
His quote was, "I thought the way Warner Brothers announced the slate of DC movies could have been handled better. I think someone like Grant Gustin, who just launched an iconic character like Flash to record-breaking numbers, should have been given a wider berth in 2 episodes before another actor was announced to play his character. I thought it was shitty that all this stuff got announced in the morning that the spectacular ratings of the second episode of The Flash came in," unquote.
Yeah.
He has a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still don't know why they decided to do it that way.
I don't know. As much as I am not a fan of the Flash TV series, I don't think I can argue that Grant Gustin is doing a terrible job. He's not. He's playing what he's given pretty damn well. And to be overlooked without even a talk about playing the Flash on the big screen is, in my opinion,
criminal?
A mistake. It's an utter mistake. You can't make your show or help make a show with that high ratings and then completely
Ignore them, yeah.
Yeah, completely overlooked for this kind of role.
It should be something like that Marvel is doing. Like, people go to see the movie and then they're like, "So have you seen the show?" No. It's related. You get to see blah, blah, blah in it. And then they're like, "Okay, and I'll go see the show now."
Yeah, and some people would argue, look at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ratings. This kind of thing doesn't work. I would argue that even if it's not the greatest of ratings in a TV show, it still makes things more accessible. You don't have to pay $13 this way to keep up to date on the movies if you have a show that gives you a chance to learn about the characters as well as learn about it in a low-cost way. You're not spending $180 or $180 million on a movie that may not work.
Uh-huh.
So disconnecting the two like that, I don't agree with. But Amell did kind of backpedal at the end of the interview where he said, quote, "All that being said, everyone wants to judge things immediately. The plan that Warner Brothers and DC have, it's a wonderful plan overall. for the introduction of the Justice League of America and all these standalone films is going to take place over 5, 6, 7 years. Who's to say what's going to happen, unquote. So I don't think Amel's in a position where he can be fired for a few bad comments, but obviously he did a little bit of PRing just to make sure that nobody came back and tried to cut his pay or anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. The only other DC media news I have is that it's been definitively said that there is no Harley Quinn on Gotham Season 1.
All right.
The character is not going to appear at all, according to an interview with EW. However, what we did learn was that there may be a prenatal appearance of another character in Batman's history in Gotham.
Prenatal?
There's going to be an episode where the Flying Graysons get together in the series.
I was kind of wondering if they're going to do that.
Who are they?
Yeah, the Flying Graysons are the parents of Dick Grayson,
The original
who is
Robin.
the first Robin.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He lost his parents when somebody was trying to extort the circus. The circus wouldn't pay, so somebody sabotaged the Trapeze Act, which just happened to be Robin's parents.
That's shitty.
Yeah, but that's how Robin ended up an orphan, and that's how he ended up with Bruce Wayne.
Gotcha.
So, I as much as it's kind of interesting they're tying the history together, it's kind of creepy with the idea of, look, these are the two people that are going to fucking create a superhero.
And die later.
Yeah. So, know where that story's going. All right, from there we're going to move into the general media news, where we talk about the nerdy items that don't quite fit into Marvel and DC's umbrellas. Something I wasn't aware of until just this week. The current Doctor, the 13th Doctor, Peter Capaldi, he actually turned down a chance to audition for the role of the 8th Doctor a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah. Who was the 8th Doctor? I think the 9th was Chris Eccleston, right?
I'm not sure. I didn't follow Doctor Who, and I'm barely following it now.
Okay. Who is the 8th Doctor? Okay, the 8th Doctor was played by Paul McGann. He's the guy who eventually landed the role. Peter Capaldi told Den of Geek, quote, "I knew I wouldn't get it. I loved the show so much that I didn't want to have anything to do with it unless it was going to be me. I didn't want to have the disappointment, go through all the palaver of jumping through hoops for something that I would never get. Because I knew it was an American pilot, and I knew they would go for somebody who was well known, which Paul was, and he was fantastic. So I didn't go along for the audition. I said to my agent, thank you very much, but I don't want to go along," unquote. Man, would that have changed the history of the whole thing if he had been the 8th Doctor?
Yeah.
Huh. It's almost sad that he didn't do it. Let's see. There's also some unused designs for Cybermen in the recent reimagining of Doctor Who. Some of these are fucking creepy as all hell.
Oh, let me see.
I'll send you the URL so you can scroll through all of them. V, are you still muted? I hope she's okay.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. About a third of the way down the page are some of the designs. The first one with this emaciated face with a bunch of stuff strapped to it. That's creepy as all fuck. The next one looks like a Sentinel stripped down to its armor, or stripped without its armor.
Steampunk version.
Yeah, what's that stuff underneath? It says Doctor Who 4. They call it the Cyber King. That wasn't from that time travel episode that David Tennant did, was it?
I have no idea.
Was it David Tennant? No, it was Matt Smith who did that one. My wife would know 10 times more about this than I would ever be able to ask. I'm just glad they didn't go with that, because that would have made the show way too weird for me. We did find out, though, that Dragon Riders of Pern, the movie for this book series, has gotten a screenwriter who's also a novelist. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the first screenplay is being written by Sarah Cornwell, who's gotten some fellowships in screenwriting. And she's also she's never adapted a book to film before, but she's written What I Had Before You, which was mostly to good reviews on Amazon anyway. That's a decent piece of news. But I don't know much beyond that, personally. Oh, okay, I got a message from V. She's having some kind of food emergency.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what a food emergency is. Hopefully she's not being raped by carrots or anything. I don't know what's going on with the mid-season finale of Walking Dead. The last episode, I believe, is going to play mid-December. However, whatever happens, it was enough to make Norman Reedus, the actor playing super redneck Daryl Dixon, cry for an hour.
Wow.
According to an interview that was posted to his Facebook page, quote, Reedus describes the hour's final moments as so devastating that they unleashed an intense wave of feelings before the cameras rolled. I sat on an apple box with my head between my legs and just bawled for an hour, he says. I really wanted not to tear up during the scene. I wanted to be like I wasted every tear in my body before we started shooting. So I just sat there and cried and cried and cried, unquote.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly this means. I mean, it sounds like one of the characters who's been long-standing on the show is going away. And his particular character, Daryl, has gotten into some familial-style relationships with the actors who play Carol and Beth. So it could be that either one or both of those characters is not going to make it out by the end of this. It's going to be curious. Speaking of rumors, though, we have a rumor that says we may know the ending to Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Don't like that
fucking
title.
weird. Neither do I. It makes you sound like a dog is waking up from a bed. But according to nerdreactor.com, the rumored ending to this is that Luke brought a cataclysm to Tatooine soon after the Return of the Jedi, after he visited Anakin's birthplace, and it changed him. It's an even more desolate place, and there are meteor craters everywhere. Luke goes mad because he discovers he fucking can't control himself. He destroys everything around and kills people with his powers unconsciously. He leaves his friends and lives in solitude on Moncal in a fortress of some old Sith Lord because of the dark side that clouds the place and puts him in chains. Luke is now described as a Yoda plus Paul Atreides type of character. He sees the future and he sees the past. Nobody wants to have anything to do with him, but Han's son, played by Adam Driver, wants to use Luke's power for his own evil means. Luke has a premonition about the destruction that Han's son will bring in the future and decides to kill him. Han is apparently upset at Luke. There's a huge fight, and it's everyone versus Luke Skywalker. The fight is epic as fuck, according to the quote here. But Luke isn't the villain. Everybody thinks he is. Han kills Luke because Luke allows him to, because he trusts him. Now, according to the Latino Review, they say that Luke Skywalker doesn't die in the movie. What happens is he tries to kill Han's son, and Han throws himself in the middle and tells him to let his son live, to trust him that everything will be all right and he won't succumb to the dark side. Luke decides to trust Han and not kill Driver, which is a big mistake that'll play out in episodes 8 and 9 of this series of films. This sounds way too freaking corny for me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm a light Star Wars fan. I've never been deep into it, but holy frick, that sounds...
That sounds very...
It almost sounds like a continuation of the prequel movies, frankly. This is not my speed. But Warren Ellis has a series called Global Frequencies, a comic series. It's getting a TV pilot again.
What?
According to Deadline, there's going to be a Global Frequency pilot that's going to adapt the comic book series into a TV show. There was a previous pilot made that wasn't picked up for a full series. Now a crowdsourced version is getting a second shot at the small screen, with the creator of Farscape and Defiance behind the show.
Ooh.
Global Frequency is about a privately funded crime-fighting operation that uses worldwide crowdsourcing to solve crimes the police cannot. In other words, it creates a network of individuals to solve crimes.
Interesting.
That's achievable in today's world, so that wouldn't make a bad TV show.
Well, I imagine there'd be like a whole host of characters you gotta deal with. Or potentially.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Now, I have something I want to show you, because someone decided to come up with what they called a remastered version of Battlestar Galactica, the old 70s TV show.
Uh-huh.
That was on the list of biggest television flops ever. I think it ran from 77 to 78. What happened was, have you ever seen the show, Jesse?
Not the original.
Okay, the original one starred Dirk Benedict and Richard Hatch as the title characters, or as the main characters. But it involved a lot of recycled footage. Half the space scenes involved where Vipers and Cylons are dogfighting were recycled from episode to episode. Not a whole lot of new stuff in there.
Yeah.
Somebody has put out a demo reel. I don't know if this is a crowdfunder. I don't know if this is an actual idea, but what they decided to produce was what it would look like if you remastered the show. I have a video. I took a look at it. It's 3.5 minutes long, but I must say, after taking a look at it, I think that you should be allowed to do it. I sent the link.
Vimeo.
Add to Vimeo.
Strike wing, standing by to launch.
Now, it starts out with a remastered CG of the Galactica itself. They could use better text on the side of that thing. But as you can see, they even decided to CG the launching of the Vipers. And the show looks almost completely different from this vantage point. It's much more cinematic. It reminds me a little bit of the remastered show. Not the remastered, God. The rebooted show, frankly. It is weird to see like Lloyd Bridges, who's been dead for about 10 years, on this TV screen. They have done a nifty job of remastering the space scenes and the dogfights. It looks very cool. You can see a couple scenes where the actors, their profile shots of the actors in space, and it's very cheap, like green screen behind them.
Yeah.
Redone like this, I would watch the whole show over again with frickin' glee, man. I would turn into an 8-year-old again. Well, I mean, you haven't seen it. Would you be able to watch a show, even though it's made in the 70s, it's remastered like this?
Got 2 Cylon tankers. I don't see any sign of...
I think it holds a lot of possibilities, at the very least.
Okay, here we go, Blue Squadron. Go to work. For Lord's sake,
Yeah.
don't get any of those tankers.
What do you think?
Look out, Jolly. You got one on your tail.
I'm not so nostalgic for these older shows, even the ones I grew up on.
Well, I'm not asking for you to be nostalgic about it. You can't be nostalgic about something you've ever seen. All I'm saying is, would you give this a try?
Yeah, I would give it a shot.
Huh. Like I said, the original show was very cheap. It wasn't well made. Well, it wasn't cheap. It was an expensive flop. But at the same time, this new version, pretty freaking nifty. Definitely changes the complexity of the show. I'll end that there because I don't want to bore everybody.
Sorry to disappear.
No, it's okay. I understand.
I accidentally ordered a burger in another state.
How did you manage that?
Five Guys online ordering system is not ideal.
Oh, okay. Well, we were just discussing the fact that Natalie Dormer, who plays Marjorie Tyrell in Game of Thrones, she was uncomfortable doing one particular scene that was written for her. You know, she's married to Joffrey. She becomes the Queen Regent, and on the day that they get married, he dies. So she then gets promised to his younger brother, Tommen, who's becoming the king. Turns out there's a scene in the books where the character of Marjorie Tyrell seduces Tommen, and she wasn't very comfortable trying to portray this on the screen. She said, quote, "That scene was altered because I phoned Dan Weiss and David Benioff and said, I'm not comfortable doing this. It's the nature of the beast that I'm 4 years into playing Marjorie Tyrell, and the big plot points of the book are in stone. George R.R. Martin wrote a particular plotline, so on the specifics of Marjorie and Tommen getting married, there's nothing I can do. On the show, we had to find a way to navigate that in a sensitive way. There's more of it next season, too, and we're trying to handle it with intelligence and integrity," unquote.
I thought she did really well in her seduction scene. Like, it seemed sweet and more innocent than, you know...
I don't know about innocent. I thought it was intimate without being sexual, which was kind of a hard line to toe.
I think that's what I meant to say.
Yeah. They did a good job of getting around it, but there's more scenes like that upcoming next season, like she says. But she actually has one complaint about the show.
Oh?
Yeah, she said, quote, well, during the first season, Alfie, Richard, and several of the men got naked, although not all the way. I suppose it's just the rules of broadcast television, isn't it? I think Thrones has been better than your average show with the equality, but they could definitely ramp it up, unquote.
Show us more dick.
Yeah, she wants to see more penis.
They've had plenty of
Soon to watch
opportunities,
when I had
and they've
enough.
just skirted right around it. You can invert your eyes or something. I don't know.
So you and I are going to be the old parents covering Jesse's eyes every time there's penis on the screen?
Yeah.
Well, there's word that the Star Wars franchise is headed back to London's Pinewood Studios to start filming something else. Disney's already locked down the space for a future installment of whatever they're working on in the Star Wars series. And the 7th Star Wars movie just finished filming at Pinewood. Maybe it's because of the secrecy they were able to maintain out there. But this is going to be the first spin-off movie, not Episode 8, but it's going to be what's directed by Rian Johnson.
What's this? Do we have a plot idea of this one yet?
Well, all we've heard is rumors that the next movie is supposed to be a Boba Fett-centered movie.
Ooh.
So that's all I got.
That could be interesting.
Potentially, but we won't know till it happens.
Yeah.
Movie stuff are always interesting.
Yeah, it can be a positive or a negative depending on how it's done. From there, we'll move into Marvel comic news. There is some interesting stuff here. First off, we read a while ago that Jim Starlin and Marvel had some kind of falling out, so he wasn't going to complete his new trilogy of graphic novels based on the Thanos character. Turns out, whatever pissed him off after the second one, they must have worked out because the third book is actually in the works. It's called Thanos Infinity Relativity. The story is kind of interesting because whatever happens, it puts Thanos in the lead of a conflict versus Annihilus and his armies in cosmic space.
Huh.
And on Thanos' side are several notable characters like Adam Warlock and the Gladiator from the Shi'ar's Imperial Guard.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of punching. There's also going to be a reformed Infinity Watch, and the Silver Surfer is going to be in it too. Get ready for a whole lot of. It's a lot. Yeah, it's if it's not written well, it's going to be a whole lot of 90s tropes too. I hope it's well done. I read the first graphic novel he put out. It wasn't quite my speed. But this threw me sideways. There's a Korean webcomic series.
Uh-huh.
Okay? It's titled Avengers Electric Rain. There's a Korean creator. Yeah, there's a Korean creator who made a webcomic called Avengers Electric Rain. It's done by Young Hoon Ko, who put up a Korean web series about the Avengers. The comic book Avengers. Here's the thing. He created an original character in there, too. I'm going to send you a picture of what she looks like. He calls it the White Fox. Let me see. She's a member... In his web series, she's a member of the Avengers based on Kumaho, a nine-tailed fox from Korean mythology. I don't know Korean mythology at all, so I can't say what this is about.
I have no idea either.
Here's the thing that makes this special. Marvel Senior Vice President C.B. Cebulski, we've discussed him a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
He announced at the Daikon conference in Seoul that not only have they picked up Young Hoon Ko as a writer and artist to work for Marvel, they're adding the White Fox to Marvel continuity.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
There's 6 installments of Avengers Electric Rain currently out. White Fox's origin story is supposed to be planned for the 9th installment. This character is going to become an official Marvel Comics Avenger.
So, what mythology was it based on?
Korean. Your mythology, dude.
No, my mythology is American. No, what was the actual myth?
It's based on something called Kumaho, a nine-tailed fox.
Okay.
I know nothing about this.
Heard
But
of
the
that.
White
I know
Fox.
they're bad, but...
Yeah. But I may have jumped the gun. I mean, there's no guarantee that the White Fox will be an Avenger in any comic storyline, but the character is going to be put into Marvel's main continuity. So she's going to be a member of the 616.
Nice.
It's nifty that he's doing it this way. Personally, I just hope she gets a better costume. The design is a little bland in my case, and I really hope it doesn't have a giant white foxtail attached to the back. That's just something people will grab and yank on.
I thought that was her hair.
Then again, for all I know, she could be Squirrel Girl's new roommate.
That really does look like a tail, not her hair.
That's what it looked like to me. It looked like two different shades of white there. But the last bit of Marvel comic news, because of the popularity of his appearance in a recent movie, there's going to be a new ongoing series for Howard the Duck.
Oh my god. Really?
I shit you not. It was announced this week via Entertainment Weekly that Howard the Duck, as of this spring, is getting a new comic series. And he's still stuck on Earth. It's a story where, quote, he's an everyman who happens to be a duck. He's angry, exasperated, and he's headed up to here with the world around him. But he's trapped here. Infinitely relatable, unquote. The series is going to be penned by Chip Zdarsky. He's the guy who created the Sex Criminal series. Don't remember that series, do you, V?
No.
It's a story about a young girl who discovers that every time she has an orgasm, she stops time.
So wait, what was the name of this show?
Sex Criminals. It's a comic series. Very quickly.
I have not.
We talked about it on the show a while ago. Yeah, there's a young lady who discovers every time she has an orgasm, she stops time.
Oh, I remember this.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll move it. Okay. We'll let that sink in for a little bit. We'll move into DC comic news. Something I failed to mention last week, but really meant to. The last time the Joker appeared in modern comics, he had figured out who Batman was and who all of his allies were. He had all of their real identities and had a confrontation in the Batcave where he may have died.
Okay.
That's all the information I had. As of Batman 36 from last week, the Joker is back, but not only have we found out he's back, he's been kind of working behind the scenes and working very closely with Batman for months.
Really?
He's been in disguise as a character named Eric Border, an orderly in Arkham Asylum who first appeared in 2013's Batman Annual Number 2. He's been acting as an ally to Batman all this time and only recently revealed that he's been here the whole time.
Wow.
That's a wicked frickin' storyline.
Yeah, I want to look at that one.
And the reason why we knew the Joker was back was because in Batman 35, Batman had to take on the Justice League, who'd all recently been hit with Joker serum.
Oh, crap.
And then in this issue, we find out that one of the guys who's been helping Batman the most around Arkham Asylum is the person that's been working against him the entire time.
Wait, Joker serum? A serum to make Jokers?
Joker either has a serum or gas, depending on who's writing it, that gives people rictus grin. It tends to bleach their skin, and they follow all the Joker's instructions while laughing maniacally.
Ah.
And in this case, this included Superman.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So problems abound. Wonder Woman has a new writer and new artist as of recently. Just in the last few weeks, I think the debut issues came out. The writer, Meredith Finch, calls Wonder Woman a feminist icon.
Okay.
Okay.
I would say a lot of people probably say that.
Well, according to Miss Finch, quote, absolutely Wonder Woman is a feminist icon. Throughout her history, she's been a role model of strength and empowerment for young women. And today, these young women of the 60s and 70s are doctors and lawyers and executives for some of the world's biggest corporations. But I think more importantly, Wonder Woman is a humanist, and I would say that today, she's simply a symbol of equality and empowerment. Unquote.
Okay. So...
I don't know about that.
I don't feel very qualified to answer because I don't know very much about her, but from what I've seen, she wears pretty scant. The clothes she wears doesn't seem to fit that mold, for one thing, and if some of the things I've heard about her powers are true.
Well, let me put it this way. The modern version of Wonder Woman, I'd say it's probably a feminist icon. What I understand is that the original creator of Wonder Woman, I think it's a Mr. Marston, William Moulton Marston. If I understand some interviews and stories about this correctly, he created Wonder Woman as a character that would be tied up often.
Yeah.
And I think Marston himself was very into bondage.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that independently, but...
Well, it is a recurring theme in Wonder Woman's early comics, where that Wonder Woman is tied up and then breaks free.
Well, I was given to understand that the only way that she would lose her powers, at least in some version somewhere, was to be tied up by a man.
A lot of it, yeah. That seemed to be her kryptonite for a little while.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Feminist icon, that's a little...
Well, that's where the disparity comes in, because the modern version of the character, yes, feminist icon. The character, as intended, was just kind of a male plaything.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, it's one of those things where I don't think Finch is wrong. It's just one of those cases where history doesn't necessarily say that this was a feminist icon. There were serious problems here. But DC Entertainment does have a new director of publicity. Michael Schelling has been tapped to take the job. And he's doing it in Burbank, where DC Comics has moved to. He was most recently the PR manager at Carbon Studios, which was another comic book, and he also worked with Sony Online Entertainment for a while. So at least this is a guy that's worked with Warner for a while. He probably had a hand in DC Online for all I know. At least they're getting somewhere. All right, I only have one piece of general comic news, and it's not happy comic news.
Oh boy.
We discussed a while ago that Rat Queens is getting some kind of, I think, cartoon adaptation, if I remember correctly. Rat Queens is kind of a tongue-in-cheek take of 4 female characters in a sword and sorcery style adventure, and all of them are roguish in behavior. You know, there's not one proper lady among them. Here's the problem. The artist that's been on this series since it started, Rock Upchurch, he's been recently removed from the series entirely.
Really?
Yeah, there's a reason for that. He pulled a Ray Rice.
Uh-huh. A what now?
He's been arrested for domestic violence.
Ah.
And the writer of the series, Curtis Weeb, he released a statement via his personal site. Quote, "This is a difficult and upsetting statement to write. I couldn't have imagined something I love so dearly would become connected to domestic violence. As of today, Rock Upchurch would no longer be illustrating Rat Queens. This is going to be a transitionary period for the series as we rebuild and prepare for a new start." Unquote. I don't quite know what to say, because this is the kind of political climate, at least in the U.S., where domestic violence is just unacceptable in general.
Which is a good thing.
It is a good thing, but we have this weird... You know how it is when America picks its cause of the month. We tend to have these weird knee-jerk overreactions.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
And in this case, I understand that he was arrested for it. My question is, was he convicted already? Has he pled guilty to something? Has he pled no contest? If he hasn't, then I don't know. The company has, or Image Comics, who's putting out Rat Queens, has the complete right to get out ahead of it and decide if they don't want to deal with the drama. I just hope it's not one of those situations where it turns out somebody made a mistake or something was overblown and this guy did nothing but still lost a job.
Yeah.
I guess the short way to say it is, I need more details before I can make a decision on what's right and wrong here.
Honestly, the simple accusation is more than enough to just really hurt somebody.
I know. And that's the sad part of it all. From there, we'll move into anime and Japan news. There's a fair amount of it there. But there's some good stuff, some stuff that makes me question what's going on. First of all, the new Dragon Ball Z movie has been dated. Officially, there will be a new Dragon Ball Z movie as of April 25th in Japan. The release date came out via Cinema City. It's a Japanese theater that had updated its website to reveal the initial offering of this movie. as of yet, I don't know of any kind of subtext or subtitle for this movie, so I don't know what the storyline's going to be. Although, if it's a Dragon Ball Z movie, that means you can probably leave at the beginning, come back about halfway through, and everything will still be in the same place.
Be there for the last, 10 minutes for the fight.
Yeah,
and
about
spectacle.
10 minutes just for the hair to turn blonde. Japan has an idol group called Momoro Clover Z. They have done the most curious crossover I have ever heard in my life. They did a song.
Worse than it.
They did a song with Kiss.
What?
Okay.
Kiss.
Yeah,
They did
I
a
heard you.
collaboration.
What?
Yeah, they did a collaboration with Kiss. There is a... you know what? I'm just going to send it to you, because they did a YouTube. It's not a video. It's just an audio with a few pictures added into it. But they did a song with Kiss. There it is. Okay. Do you think this was Gene Simmons' idea, or was he just laughing as he sat on a pile of money as they did this?
Both?
This sounds like a pop version of Baby Metal.
Yeah, one of the comments says that.
Oh, okay, this isn't a collaboration. This is one of just Momoro Clover Z songs. The story goes on to say that the collaboration is going to be put on iTunes as of January 28th. This particular song we're listening to is an effort with Marty Friedman and Youngwee Malstein. Wow, these girls work with a lot of metal icons, don't they? It's a little screechy for my taste. But not only that, Momoro Clover Z is going to perform with Kiss at their 40th anniversary concert at Tokyo Dome on March 3rd. Okay. This is, this is not my speed. Anybody else?
I don't hate it, but I probably wouldn't listen to it.
Yeah.
I actually would. I'm kind of, I don't know. I like this
Oh, this is
for
working?
some reason.
This is working for you, Jesse? I'm not sitting here I'm not making judgments, it's just not my speed. If it works for you, it works for you, dude.
Yeah, I know. I like it. That's all I really have to say about it. I like it.
Right. I wonder what the single with Kiss is going to sound like, though. Oh well. I am not a fan of Attack on Titan. No secret there.
Yeah, me either.
But the live-action movie is charging ahead. The producer, Yoshiro Sato, said he didn't pay as much attention as to whether or not the cast members look like the original characters. Instead, he had a lot of discussions with the Attack on Titan manga creator, Hajime Isayama, and with actors who could act out the characters' spirits, unquote.
All right.
Let me see. Is there any information as to who these people are? Oh, here we go. We have Hiroki Hasegawa is Shikishima. It looks to be the Levi character. We have Ayame Misaki as Hyana. And we have Pierre Taki as Soda. Jun Kunabura as Kubal. Satoru Matsuo as Sanagi. You know, I actually don't recognize any of these names from the series. Are these actual characters? Or are these original characters?
You need to talk to someone who's actually seen it.
Well, let me send you the URL because they have a lot of images to go with this. I'm actually not entirely sure who any of these characters are. But I'm guessing that some of these will probably be based on characters from the manga and some others may be originals brought in. But again, that's only a guess. I can't say for sure. Because in going through this, I don't recognize any of these names from any synopses I've read from the series.
Oh, you've done more research on it than I have.
Oh, they look nifty and everything, but, you know, Attack on Titan is just not in my wheelhouse as things I enjoy. Has anybody else tried any episodes from it? Because I found the whole thing just too much.
The most I've seen
Yeah.
it is the intro.
Oh, so you haven't tried the series at all, then?
No.
Okay. I'm just taking a quick look through a list of characters from Wikipedia, and yeah, none of the names I've read on these posters appear on the list of characters. So we may have a... I don't know if it's a combination of original and new characters, or if it's just new characters. Either way, I look forward to other people telling me how it goes. I have found out, though, that the second season of Attack on Titan is coming in 2016. There's no more definitive date than that. But the news was, let me see, after the conclusion of the Attack on Titan animated movie's first screening, it was announced that there was a new season of the show coming. Which means we're going to see a whole lot more of people being eaten and stepped on. I actually have a little more information. There is actually characters cast as a primary, or actors cast as the primary characters of Attack on Titan for the movie. Haruma Miura is cast as Eren, the main character. Kanata Hongo is Armin. I guess in the TV show he's blonde. In this case, he won't be. And let me see. I don't see Mikasa here. At least not initially. Here we go. Kiko Mizuhara is cast as Mikasa. So there's going to be a bunch of new characters around the primary characters of the show.
Oh, we know who's going to die.
You're identifying the red shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anime Expo has actually put out some news on new policies going into their year 2015. First off, they changed the autograph policy. They're no longer handing out tickets for guests of honor panels for the autograph lines at all. Raffles for autograph vouchers are going to be discontinued. The autograph ticket booth located in the West Hall will become the central location to get a limited number of autograph tickets. So if you want to get in line for autographs, you got to get in line here first. You don't go to a panel. You don't go to a special giveaway. You have to go to the booth to get tickets, to go to the booth to get a signature. Nobody may stand in line for an autograph without a ticket. Standby lines will also require a ticket. Holy crap. Premier fans do not, repeat, Premier fans, the people who buy expensive badges, do not get front-of-line privileges for autograph tickets, distribution, or for autograph sessions. The autograph area is moving to Kensha Hall, the lot underneath the South Hall, and the autograph area is expanding to allow for special guests, not guests of honor, to hold paid autograph sessions. Things that are not changing are that the guests of honor will continue to hold autograph sessions and no extra charge to attendees. That's it. Wow, you get to get into a line, to get into a line, to get into a line to get an autograph.
I would not go through that hassle. That's just me.
I'm not a fan of getting autographs at anime conventions. I understand why people would want them, but they tend to be a whole lot of hassle without a lot of actual payoff. I wouldn't want to wait 3 hours of a convention where I've already paid $75 to get through a door and just lose a quarter of a day where I could be having fun. That's not the way I work.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also announced that the premier badges, which we've talked about, they're going to cost $225.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, that's gone up a lot. I think when they first announced them 4 years ago, they were $90, and they've gone up every year. But they're also making changes to the perks provided for Premier fans. There's going to be an exclusive lounge area where Premier fans can take a break in comfy chairs and charge their phones, check bags, and get complimentary soda and or water. The lounge will also be where Premier fans can pick up their swag bags, lanyards, and mini posters. Celebrity guests and guests of honor will make some brief random appearances in the Premier Fan Lounge and for meet and greet opportunities. And you get a $50 credit to use towards main event tickets, merchandise, or paid autograph sessions. If you've already purchased a Premier Fan badge, they'll be honoring the previous perk of collecting a main event ticket. So if you bought one before this announcement that came out earlier this week, you're still getting a main event ticket, not the $50 voucher. But the selection of what event you're going to has to be made prior to Anime Expo. You have to make changes through the registration customer service online or on site. The badge also includes entrance to the exhibit hall 1 hour before the general attendees, only on Thursday, not the whole convention like prior years. Preferred seating and front-of-line privileges to all panels, but does not apply to autograph sessions. There's a limited number of these front-of-line seats set aside for premier fans. So they want you to arrive at least 5 minutes prior to the panel. You get a pre-sale period for all ticketed events. You get an exclusive Premier Fan lanyard, an Anime Expo 2015 mini poster, a 20% discount on Anime Expo official merchandise, and access to act shuttles, exhibit hall, panels, dance, and other offerings, including but not limited to video programming, gaming, karaoke. In other words, you get to the convention.
Right.
I don't know, $225 for that list of perks, that's way too much money for way too little. $225, I could get into Disneyland for 2 days.
I don't have a lot of experience, but I probably wouldn't pay that much for it.
Well, wait, $225, that's more than a Comic-Con badge is this year. Literally, that's more than Comic-Con.
So how do they think the people are going to go for this price?
I don't know. The Facebook reaction to some of these have not been positive, as you can imagine, but then again, it's the internet. Everybody gets mad for something.
Yeah.
My daughter is actually a fan of the J-Rock band Scandal. It's made up of 4 young ladies who are probably in their mid-20s by now. They're releasing their 20th single on iTunes already. It's called Image. I haven't heard it myself. But it was released earlier this week, and in addition to releasing their 20th single, they've announced that they're going to do a world tour in 2015. They call it the Hello World Tour. They're already doing pre-ticket sales in Japan. They're going to be out there from, looks like, I'm having trouble translating the site here, it's in Japanese, but their performance is going to be on, looks like January 24th and February 28th. Also going to be another pair of appearances on March 1st and April 19th. But they're also going to be in France. They're going to be in the United Kingdom, Taiwan. They're even coming to the U.S. and Hong Kong. There's no information on where they'll land in the U.S., though. If things hold true, they'll probably either be in L.A. or New York. We have some general nerd interest news, too. I've got some interesting stuff that's come out this week, and some of it's funny, some of it is kind of sad.
What's funny?
Well, we'll just go in order that I've got it listed here. If I start picking and choosing, goodness knows in what order I've got it, and then it's going to make trying to cut all this a nightmare.
Yes, chaos ensues.
I forgot who I was talking
Make it
to.
hard for Jeremy.
First of all, there is a device called the Wooger. It's a device that's supposed to make gaming, especially FPSs, more fun. I think this is kind of debatable. The Wooger is a small, I guess you could say, vibration unit you're supposed to pin underneath your shirt. And it plugs into your headphone jack, and it senses the amount of bass and then delivers the appropriate amount of vibration to your chest. Feel the gunshots, feel the explosions. There have been devices like this before, but according to Yahoo Games, this one is actually very subtle and works pretty well. It makes them fit a tiny bit like Iron Man, though.
I already have enough heart problems.
Well, they say it works pretty well. Here's the part where you actually break with me. To get this little device, they're asking for $100.
Pass.
Absolutely. If it was like $30, totally get that. That sounds funny. $100 sounds way too expensive for what this is, even if it's a better processing unit than the average device. Jeremy, no do.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
I'm not interested in that much immersion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never heard of multiphoton lithography before, but this sounds interesting.
Okay.
There's
multiphoton
lithography. There's a British artist named Jonty Hurwitz. he made some sculptures using a 3D printer that used multi-photon lithography. He created a statue that sits within the eye of a needle.
Okay. Wow.
You want to take a look at the slideshow?
Yes.
It's actually fairly impressive. It looked like a fairly detailed statue. I sent it. I mean, the first one, you get a good look at the statue, supposedly sitting within the eye of the needle there. Looks like it's got a decent amount of detail. When you get to the next picture, then you realize just how small this thing is.
That is insane.
Yeah, the eye of the needle is like a cave there, isn't it?
Jeez.
That's an impressive bit of technology.
Yeah.
I can't even... This is amazing.
It's hard. It's freaking hard to comprehend. I don't know what the applications are for it, other than, now
Awesome.
you can 3D print something for Ant-Man to fight, I guess.
Right?
But it's a curiosity. Can you imagine all these miniatures lined up on a windowsill somewhere? It looked like an army fighting.
You wouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah, then again, every time someone opened a window, it'd ruin your army.
Good strong gust of wind would take it out.
Now, it's been thought for a while that Uranus has one of the calmest climates in the solar system. Icy, but relatively still. Okay?
Uh-huh.
A recent study using some 28-year-old images that were taken by the Voyager 2 says that the southern hemisphere rotates unlike any region ever observed by scientists, according to Geek.com. There's also evidence that clouds stretch hundreds of miles across the planet that whip up winds over 500 miles per hour.
Wow.
Yeah, I read that article. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's written by a University of Arizona astronomer named Eric Karkachka, revisited the photos and analyzed the pictures taken in time-lapse succession, and he layered 1,600 images to see changes on the face of Uranus. It says, quote, "While the nature of the feature and its interaction with the atmosphere are not yet known, the fact that I found this unusual rotation offers new possibilities to learn about the interior of a giant planet," unquote. He goes on to say, quote, "My analysis suggests rotational rates in the high latitudes of Uranus are highly asymmetrical, with some southern latitudes possibly rotating as much as 15% faster than their northern counterparts," unquote. Okay, so the lesson here is that humans should not live in the southern half of the planet. But I almost want to slap the person at the Examiner when they brought up this story, because this is the headline they put on it. "Spacecraft images lead astronomer to discover something strange inside Uranus."
Yeah.
I don't know if the title was written by the article writer, Roz Zerko, but fuck you, man. I am not much into video game replicas and props. In this case, I might break a rule. However, this cost $650, so that rule was instantly back in effect. There's an official license of a 20-pound recreation of a plasma rifle from the Halo game series.
Okay.
I sent you guys an image. This was made by Project Triforce, and it's made of polystone. It has LED light effects, and there's only going to be 150 made with a $650 price tag. This is an impressive recreation.
Whoa.
It's 24 inches long, and like I said, it's 20 frickin' pounds. I would like to own it, but then as soon as I bought it, I would hate myself.
Buyer's remorse.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
With a $650 price tag, though, why don't you hold all these till Comic-Con? Those things would disappear. People pay insane amounts for all kinds of stuff there. And it's the end of an era, guys. G4 is going off the air.
Oh, yeah, I heard about
For
that.
G4 was a gaming network that was started about 4 or 5 years ago, if I remember correctly. Actually, it debuted about a decade ago in 2002. Used to be known for a lot of original TV shows, including Attack of the Show.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
I want to say in the last couple years, it was renamed as the Esquire Network as they attempted to rebrand it. As it turns out, NBC Universal has just decided to pull the entire plug on it. It's going to be replaced by the Style Network.
Yay?
Wow.
Yeah, well, that just, all that means is there's a channel that's permanently being removed from my favorite list. There was a story on IO9 that came out this week, though, that somebody made a pair of Spider-Man-style gloves that works.
Really?
Yeah,
Like with the
researchers
web?
led by... well, no, not webbing, as far as sticking to surfaces.
Oh, okay.
There's an engineer from Stanford named Elliot Hawks who created a pair of gecko-inspired gloves that enable users of up to 200 pounds to be able to scale smooth vertical planes of glass.
Oh, wow.
That's impressive.
He's using a synthetic adhesion system with 140 square centimeters adhesive per hand. It's not the prettiest types of things. They're more or less like plates that are attached to the bottom of the hand that you use to stick to the surfaces. So it's not exactly like fingertip, toe. But it's a step in the right direction, and it's probably going to make every cat burglar out here squeal with glee.
No kidding.
Now we get to be Sean Connery climbing up the side of a building. I also have a small digital gallery here from comicbookresources.com that has a bunch of sci-fi reimaginings of Batman.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Yeah.
Well, you can take a look. It's both sci-fi and fantasy reimaginings. The first picture shows a Bat Knight with a giant bat steed. It's a
Ooh.
strange idea, but I kind of dig it.
I like that. That's cool.
Now, the second one
yeah.
appears to be some kind of sci-fi costume that's kind of uninspired, in my opinion.
Yeah, the
You look
the
like-
next two I'm not.
He looks like a bat slouch.
The fifth one
take a look
down
at
though.
Fifth one.
Alex Ruiz.
Wow, that's a strange-looking device.
That's so weird. That one and the last one are cool.
Is that a person there just above the bat symbol in that picture?
Might be.
I think that's a face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a face. Okay, so that is a Batman. I wasn't sure if this is a Bat droid. The last one by Christopher Trejo is pretty good too.
Yeah, I definitely like that one.
It's more gothic than the others. I think it's the third one by Robin Hare. Is an interesting design, but it's almost in line with where the comics are going now, though. It's a nifty gallery. The last bit of general nerd interest news I have: there is no information on where to buy this, but I want to know where to buy this.
What is it?
I'm going to send you a picture. It's a lamp.
Oh,
According to,
Dude, I want it.
do you know what that is?
the moon.
Not only that, it's a recreation of the supermoon that we've had recently.
Oh. That's interesting. I guess, what do they mean by recreation? Like, it's the amount of light level, or...
No, there was a supermoon on March 19th, 2011, and they took whoever created this took a topographical map of the moon on that date and created this small LED lamp.
Gotcha.
And this is one of those things where it's like accent wear. I have absolutely no use for this. I would like to take like 4 of these and hang them at different elevations off my ceiling. I mean, I don't even see any information on where to buy this from, but I frackin' want one. This is the kind of thing that not only inspires nice dreams, but it's actually relatively inspiring just to have. You know what I'd love to do? I'd like to buy a couple of these and send them to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'd probably get an email back saying he missed a crater.
Yeah. Or being like, hey, I already got a million of these from, everyone else. And all the ones I bought.
Yeah, really. Okay, our last bit of news here is our what the fuck section. Just those things around the internet that really make you wonder how humans have gotten this far. First of all, I'm a fan of Kevin Smith. That's never been a secret. Not necessarily for his movies, but because the guy's creative, he likes to encourage people to do stuff. That's how we started doing this show. Although he's also made it no secret that he doesn't mind talking about sex, and some people don't mind talking about it with him. He received a rather interesting image of new items he might be interested in purchasing someday. I sent you the URL to the photo so you can take a look.
I love it.
Hold up. Okay, what am I in for?
Well, I don't quite know how to describe it to you if you're going to ask.
Oh!
That's what you're in for. They could market
No.
these fairly well.
For the people who don't know what's going on, somebody sent Kevin Smith a picture of a bunch of dildos inspired by superheroes called Super Hung Heroes. They have several interesting ideas as takeoffs of characters, including Rock Hard Man, which is your Iron Man clone, the Caped Cock, your Batman, the Amazing Web Shooter for Spider-Man, and the Incredible Hunk. If I have to explain that to you, you're an idiot, and I don't know why you're listening to the show anyway. I have to ask a question. V, which of these would you prefer to use?
You know, I kind of gravitate towards the Spider-Man one.
For some reason, I thought you might. It does seem to be textured for pleasure.
Yeah, ribs for her pleasure.
Well, in this case, it'd be webbed for her pleasure, but still.
Yeah, fair. Right. I should have said that. That would have been so much.
You know what? I almost want to look this up, because now I have an idea for Christmas presents.
Yeah. I'd probably be more into the Hulk one, but Bruce Banner just doesn't turn me on.
Well, in this case, you're not dealing with Bruce Banner. Judging by the size of that thing, you're dealing with the other one.
Even so, I mean, I have to have some connection to the person.
It's okay. There's one that is... It's okay. According to some people who responded to the Facebook post after Kevin Smith put this up, they forgot to list one. There's the hammer.
Oh.
Nice.
You're inserting the handle end of Mjolnir, complete with a hammer head on it.
I want it.
Oh, man. Oh, God, that was just funny to me. Now, on the other scale of what the fuck, I have something here that was just curious. There's a man who decided to get a tattoo on his arm. And when he got the tattoo, it came with a very interesting optical illusion. It looks like there's a handle in his arm. I sent you the URL.
Ooh, that's cool.
That's trippy to stare at.
I like that.
Now, I don't have experience with I don't have experience with tattoos. Would this just look like this from one particular angle, or would it look like this from multiple angles by chance?
No, I think
I have
it's from
no
this
idea.
particular angle.
It's freaky to look at, though. It does look like there's a gigantic divot in his arm.
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool, actually. Weird, but cool.
Yeah. Let me see. Paul O'Rourke at All-Star Inc. in Limerick, Ireland is responsible for this one. I wonder if he designed it. But this is the type of thing, if it breaks wide, this could create a very interesting fad in tattoos. Here's something fun for you. I have from IO9, 10 reasons why everyone but Sailor Moon knows Tuxedo Mask sucks.
Okay.
It's generally a bunch of reasons why the male character in Sailor Moon sucks ass, according to the writer of the article, who is Lauren Davis and Rob Bricken. Item number 1, he dates girls who are way too young for him. Quote, by which we mean he's a borderline statutory rapist. It's less creepy later on when Mamoru is 19 and Usagi is 16, but that's still a bit uncomfortably close to the age of being unable to consent. But at the start of the series, Mamoru is a 17-year-old college student, according to the manga, and Usagi is a 14-year-old middle school student. That's just wrong. And it definitely doesn't help that Usagi acts significantly young and immature for her age, and Mamoru dresses like a 28-year-old investment banker.
Unfortunately, age of consent in Japan is a lot different than in America, so...
I'm aware of that. Now, you might say, Lauren, Rob, Usagi is Mamoru's one true reincarnated love. Surely we can bend silly age rules for that. Perhaps, but Usagi isn't the only young'un that Mamoru dates. He actually goes out with Rei for a while, although granted, she pushed him into it at first, meaning underage girls are just his type. Look, you're in college, dude. Stop hanging around middle schools looking for your reincarnated moon queen, okay? Unquote. They go on to several other reasons. It's probably a bit too long to read at this point, but it says, number 2, he was actually a huge asshole to Sailor Moon for a long time. Number 3, he's lousy in a fight. Okay, I guess I can agree with that. Quote, part of the problem is that Tuxedo Mask's fighting prowess boils down to 2 moves. Throwing roses and carrying people to safety. Now, we're not saying rose throwing isn't helpful. He does manage to damage the occasional energy sucking device, but he has a tendency to swoop in, throw his rose, and then peace out. At some point, he does start using a cane because everything has to be tuxedo themed, but it's not super useful against, actual weapons. Few supposed superheroes could benefit from a martial arts class or two as tuxedo mask. Boxing, taekwondo, fencing. Hell, we'll take pillow fighting at this point. Unquote. Says he's even terrible providing moral support. He dresses like the 90s threw up on him. He's basically an enormous liability to the entire operation. He's more effective a hero when he's evil. He sabotages his relationships from the future just to be a jerk. He's super disturbing relationship with his daughter, and he's not even wearing a goddamn tuxedo. According to the writer, he's wearing a dinner tie suit, not a tux. That's a whole lot of nitpicking about an 80s cartoon. And yes, I said cartoon. For those of you that say anime is not cartoons, it's a cartoon.
Same damn thing.
Different language.
Thank you.
Not saying that because I don't enjoy it. I watch a shit ton of anime, but at the same time, it's a cartoon. Enjoy your cartoons. Don't be so immature that you can't say, I like cartoons. Still watch Tom and Jerry every once in a while. Let me see. We've talked a little bit about Goat Simulator. It's an actual game where you pretend to be a goat.
Oh,
it's purposely. It's bugged on purpose.
Yeah. Here's the thing that made me go, what the fuck, this week. It's getting an MMO expansion. It's satirizing World of Warcraft.
I heard about that. I bet people will play it.
Yeah, this past Thursday we had an expansion that gives fans, let me see, an expansion that riffs on tropes from MMOs like World of Warcraft. The buildings and enemies are inspired by the fantasy genre, along with several goat skins from the initial release. You'll be able to play as several typical role-playing classes, including warrior, rogue, magician, and hunter, with the additional weird option of microwave with humanoid legs.
Microwave?
I guess that means you get to change the skin into a microwave for some reason. Does that mean you get to make yourself explode?
I guess.
No forks.
You get to make yourself a Hot Pocket. That is your power, is firing Hot Pockets at range.
No. You know what? You can add on to that. Your special attack will be glow sticks.
Perfect.
Also in the realm of what the fuck, it's been said that Fox has acquired a Tinkerbell movie from Melissa McCarthy and Sean Levy.
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, there's been a lot of live-action remakes of different Disney series or movies over the last few years. Where does a Melissa McCarthy written Tinkerbell fit into all this?
First of all, who is Melissa McCarthy?
She's the heavy woman on Mike and Molly, and she's been in a few movies. She was the fat cousin in Bridesmaids.
Okay. Well, I know there's a Tinkerbell on Once Upon a Time, and that Tinkerbell is kind of a badass, so...
I don't know. Like I said,
they're maybe related?
This is on Fox, so it'd be two separate networks. Probably wouldn't be.
Oh, never mind. Nothing to do with the other.
I think it's supposed to be a movie as well. I just hope this is Melissa McCarthy. I just hope this is Melissa McCarthy writing an intelligent character. She tends to be typecast as overweight and inept in a lot of films. And it doesn't work out well for her. I think she's a smarter actress than that. Let's just hope this isn't a dark and gritty trend, Tinkerbell taking her little knife and stabbing Captain Hook in the dick repeatedly or something.
I don't necessarily mind that. I mean, I will get tired of it eventually, but as long as they don't try to cast Kristen Stewart into every role.
That would be a whole bunch of pouting for a different reason.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Hemsworth was in Snow White and the Huntsman, so that movie was saved. But
yeah, but you can almost say that she nearly killed his career in it.
Yeah.
This is something that, seriously, I don't understand why this is a big deal. And it's not a big deal to anybody but Warner Brothers. DC has filed a copyright infringement claim on a Valencia soccer team.
What?
The La Viga Club from Valencia sought to trademark a new iteration of their crest featuring a bat logo. DC has filed a copyright claim saying that this soccer club has a logo. Is this soccer? Yeah, I believe this is soccer and not volleyball. Has a logo that is way too close to their Batman logo currently. This is one of those fights that just doesn't need to happen. Why don't you just send them a letter and ask for a compromise instead of making a copyright claim over it?
Because I think it's more of a legality thing.
Well, it could
That
be
they have
because
to prove that
Valencia.
they're fighting for their property.
Yeah, I guess this
Well,
wouldn't
that
be
is
a fight,
pretty similar.
except this Valencia team filed a trademark claim so that they could get their own logo, which is where this fight comes from. I don't think the two symbols are terribly similar. I think if you're going to file a claim, you need to file a claim versus the Batman Beyond logo. I think that was much closer. Let me see if I can find a comparison so you have an idea what I'm talking about.
Oh, really? That is nowhere close.
I know, but some people are freaking out over it. Here you go, V. Take a look at this. I think the Batman Beyond logo is much closer to that soccer logo. I wouldn't file it against the Batman symbol. I'd file it against this symbol. So, I don't know. This is just one of those fights that probably doesn't need to be had in general. Something tells me you're not going to have a problem where people are trying to buy a copyright for Batman and accidentally buy a soccer club's logo. We see there was a good story this week that people were cheating Walmart out of PS4s.
Oh, I heard about that story.
Yeah. For those that aren't aware, what people were doing was they were walking into Walmart with price listings from Amazon.com listing a PS4 at $90, and Walmart employees were actually price matching, selling people PS4s for $90.
Well,
it turns out
they were putting out that advertising of price match anything, including Amazon.
Yeah, and which is true. It's part of their policy. What they didn't realize is that people were putting up fake listings for PS4s on Amazon at low amounts so that they could just walk into stores and price match the fake listings.
Yep.
So this whole thing was a scam. Walmart's already updated its policy, so this kind of scam is not possible anymore. But as dirty of a trick as it is, I must admit that is relatively brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not something I condone, but it is an intelligent move. It's Lex Luthor supervillainy in action. One thing I always hate, though, is when people get so desperate to forward something that they appeal to their fan base just to up their ratings.
What?
And Kirk Cameron has done this. Kirk Cameron has made a movie called Saving Christmas. It is a conservative movie where he's detailing the war against Christmas, as he puts it, from organizations who are non-Christian. Probably more specifically atheists. But when he put out his movie, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a rating of 10% freshness, which is just putrid. In other words, the official critics of Rotten Tomatoes hated it. Wasn't doing much better in the fan ratings. So what he did was he put out a post to his 2,000 followers or 2,000 followers of the movie online, and told them to go over to Rotten Tomatoes and give it a better rating so they could get a better rating on the website. I checked it a couple days ago. It actually went from around 10% up to about 50%. I don't know what it's at currently, but it is kind of a dirty move. If your movie sucks, it sucks.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
You made crap. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't think he made crap. Kirk Cameron's a serious born-again Christian who assumes that the problem isn't with his theology so much as we're not accepting it like we should.
Or we don't understand it.
Yeah.
Well, if we don't understand, then you did a bad job of explaining it to us.
Or all
this is the kind of
by
guy,
the
though.
devil.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy, though, that says that evolution is not true because that evolution never came up with a crocoduck. Some kind of creature that is the evolutionary step between crocodiles and ducks.
Oh, what?
Some scientists were making fun of him a while ago for it because it turns out they found a dinosaur that's duck-billed with a crocodile-like tail.
Nice.
So all of a sudden they said, here's your crocoduck. Evolution exists. Shut up. I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now about his movie. It's called Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas. The synopsis is that every year at Christmas time, it seems the baby in the manger takes more and more of a backseat to retail sales, Santa Claus, and political correctness. With Merry Christmas being replaced by season's greetings and court-order removal of public nativity scenes, the fruit of Mary's womb is falling on hard times. But this year, Kirk Cameron is taking back Christmas with his engaging new movie, Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas. Opening in select theaters November 14th, the newest movie from the star of Fireproof and Unstoppable is filled with laughter, warmth, and God-honoring cheer. Oh, God, that sounds painfully one-sided.
Admittedly, some of the things he's complaining about, I actually do agree with. It's the political crisis changing from Merry Christmas to Happy Holidays is not something I actually ever got behind, but really, he's just doing it wrong.
I think it's an amalgamation of issues, though, because the reason why we use Happy Holidays instead of Saving Christmas a lot of the times is not a case of trying to push Christians out of the way. It's just a case of trying to bring everybody into the holiday.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many religions that have variations on Christmas. I would rather all of us, get together and have fun instead of just saying Merry Christmas and then accidentally insulting someone else. Political correctness or not, I hate political correctness, but I don't want to exclude anybody from the generally warm feelings I get during the holiday season.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that... What?
I was going to say, for me, saying Merry Christmas has not been saying I'm promoting Christianity because I have not gone to church in 2 decades. And I don't really care religion in general, but it's just been, for me, it's just always been a tradition. That's what I say.
Right. Like I said, it's just my feeling on it. I'm not saying I'm correct or not. I prefer Happy Holidays because I want everybody to feel the feeling. However, I will say that on Rotten Tomatoes, Kirk Cameron's movie, according to the critics, is currently at 8%. It's gone down.
The critics are fighting back.
Yeah, the average rating is 1.9, and not only critics are fighting back. Like I said, the audience score had gotten as high as 60%. As of a couple of days ago, it was 50%. As of today, Sunday the 23rd, it's 38%. It's getting an average rating of 2.2 out of 5.
Ouch.
So apparently this movie is not well liked by people. I can't have a what the fuck corner if I didn't address the stupidest thing I saw all week.
Uh-oh.
What's that?
Have you guys heard about the attempt to break the internet this week? Or actually last week?
I've not.
No.
Okay. Kim Kardashian and Paper Magazine said that they were going to break the internet. Nobody knew quite what that meant, and then the pictures came out from Paper Magazine with Kim Kardashian in them. Her attempt to break the internet was showing off her body. In the nude. There was one shot that was, I guess, the cover shot that was her peeling herself out of a dress, showing off her oversized ass. There was one picture that actually showed her full frontal.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people have shown some outrage asking how a mother can show herself naked like this. I think people are asking the wrong question. My question is, when are people going to realize that Kim Kardashian just went back to her one actual talent, and that is stripping for other people?
Nice. It's
partly joke, but it's partly true. A lot of people seem to think that she's got famous from this reality show. She's not famous from a reality show. She's famous because she got on video fucking a D-grade celebrity. I'm hearing a bunch of silence, but I'm just curious what you guys think of all this, because I think this was just a sad attention grab.
I don't follow this. I don't really follow a lot of pop culture, so I don't give a flying fuck.
Yeah, I don't... The only reason I knew about it was people were posting about it on my Facebook. And I just... On the one hand, I really don't... I'm not offended by it, because I'm pro-nudity. But...
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's sad that our focus was on that more than on the comet landing.
I know. I don't know how social media and a lot of entertainment rags blew up about Kim Kardashian showing off her body to the world, when there's so many unusual and really horrific things that we have to pay attention to going on out there.
Yeah.
And she thought, that is going to break the internet. There are porn sites that probably get more traffic than that.
Yeah, I guess she would have probably broken the internet if it was, a couple pictures of, like, her taking the Los Angeles Lakers up that oversized ass of hers. But, she wasn't the only one who made bad decisions in her family. Her sister Chloe decided to put out a meme on her Twitter. I doubt she was smart enough to create it, but she actually put a picture of her, Kim, and Courtney, the three primary sisters in this family, with the words, "This is the only KKK that black men want to get into."
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, that, truth aside, obviously this is somebody who doesn't understand why the letters KKK have a very negative connotation in the African community in America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think she understands why that's stupid. Fucking crew. And the only reason I got this far is because I like Hollywood Babylon, and these people are a constant target for ridicule, and deservedly so. The Kardashians aren't the only females who made very strange or bad decisions as far as recently. Our showrunner, Anthony, brought me to the attention of a band called Pritz, a Korean girl pop group, Pritz. They're kind of like baby metal, but a little more operatic when it comes to their style of music.
Oh, I think I may have seen this one.
Yeah, the fact that they exist is not what's unusual. What's unusual is that in their latest music video and in several promotional pictures, they decided to, they or whoever runs them decided to take advantage of this whole dressing up as Nazis fad that's going on in Asia right now. And their latest video and promo pictures include a lot of quasi-Nazi imagery, which is just rubbing a lot of people internationally the wrong way.
Really? I think I read, or I think that it was like the. Actually, I may have gotten this wrong, misread, whatever. But I thought, talk.
Use your words. It's what people say to me all the time.
It's okay. It's what he says to me all the time. So I found the juxtaposition funny.
But I'm not sure what their normal concert attire is. If I assume it's all black, then.
Well, they're a baby metal style pop and metal hybrid. So I couldn't say. I imagine some of it. I imagine their wardrobe stays generally dark. I sent you a URL of what they look like. I'm not saying this to be dickish. I'm not saying this because they're jerks. They appear to be four pretty, at least well-managed, bubbly individuals. I think they were led astray. Because the story we read a few months ago says that there's a lot of young people dressing up as Nazis, going to Nazi-themed cafes, having cosplay shoots as Nazis, although they're undereducated and don't understand the kinds of atrocities that this party performed in the 30s and 40s. So this is just a level of unabashed ignorance.
Well, I don't. Other thing is the armband that they were wearing is actually for something else entirely. This didn't go well with their black outfits.
I like I said, I don't know. I have the video. We can flip through it a little bit, see what kind of imagery comes through this. So they're basically getting crap over the dresses because there's nothing here that's like Holocaust or no atrocities or anything. This is all for their costume arrangement, which may be the fault of nothing more than the company that's producing them.
Yeah, like I said, I think the armbands themselves was for something else entirely, and just putting on the black outfit look like SS soldiers or officers.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those cases where it's unfortunate, but somebody needs to put more foresight if they're going to release these girls to an international stage rather than just solely in the Pacific Rim area. So it's just one of those cases where somebody pulled a stupid. Last bit of WTF news I have is a serious WTF. There was a StarCraft tournament recently.
Mm-hmm.
A StarCraft 2 tournament, actually. And in the qualifying round of the tournament, of the Fragbite Masters Season 3, there was a young lady named Madeline Leander. She was in the middle of a match, and it wasn't going well. She was losing 0-2. But she wasn't feeling bad about it because she never felt like she was tournament ready. But, how many opportunities are you going to get to play in a tournament, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Her opponent was a guy named Mikhailo Gaida. He's from the Ukraine. Pretty good StarCraft player by all note. However, he released a tweet after the 0-2 start. He was the one who was winning against her. He actually tweeted, quote, "Going to rape some girl soon. Hashtag Fragbite Masters," unquote.
Wow.
Really?
I'm dead serious. That's the type of statement that almost makes you want to just swing a sledgehammer without question, frankly.
I concur.
Now, to Fragbite Master's credit, he won the match in the qualifiers, and then he was immediately disqualified from the tournament for his behavior.
Yeah.
And Gaida himself took to Twitter, and instead of just giving a whole bunch of excuses to why he did it, his next one was, quote, "Sorry to everyone. Sometimes I'm really doing stupid tweets. Hate myself for that. Sorry."
Well, at least he owned it. So
Yeah, that's good.
And then he released another tweet later that day. This was the 21st. It says, "No tweets from me for the next 3 days. Really a shame. Again, sorry everyone. Hashtag wanna kill myself."
Oh, well, that's...
Oh, wow.
That's good, at least.
Yeah, I'm glad he owned, but... Damn.
The last hashtag pushed the drama meter up to like 11. That wasn't necessary. But if he's going to apologize and own it, that's the best you can ask for, really.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this is a one-time mistake. I'm hoping that a bunch of people don't jump him and, try to attach this whole thing to Gamergate and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he learns from it, comes back better, and comes back ready to play. Because if this turns into a pattern thing, he can go sit in a corner with Bill Cosby for all I frickin' care. All right now you heard some additional music by Machine Supremacy. That is because we're going off for the schedule. We're supposed to be talking about DC's Killing Joke. However, we have a special guest that's coming back on the show. We have Chris Hare, the Warcabbit, project lead design at Missing Worlds Media in regards to the City of Titans project. Say hi.
Hi. We can still talk about Killing Joke, I gotta say, the more you know about the worse parts of it get. You've all heard about the memo, right?
Memo?
No.
You don't know about the memo?
No, we're relatively light on DC history,
okay,
so this was our foray.
This is, attention, spoilers. There is a scene that occurs in it involving Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The gentleman who wrote it had to ask for permission. The responding memo was "cripple the bitch."
Whoa! That's a very women in fridges type of thing.
Well, you know who's. I have to really thank Gail for starting that. Gail Simone.
Yeah.
She was a huge City of Heroes player. If you didn't know that, a lot of people were. A lot of people were.
Makes me wonder who I was crossing swords with sometimes.
But I'm just going to say though, when she started the Woman in Refrigerators project, and that, believe it or not, a lot of people haven't added one and one and gotten that yet. She really brought a lot of things forward that, frankly, have improved the genre quite a bit. Without her doing that, I don't think we'd have Ms. Marvel today.
Wow.
I mean, when you get down to it, you know, the pro female stance that we've taken, that we've taken in comics, I think a lot of it is actually really gets down to her getting really pissed off at women in refrigerators and people saying, "No, this is wrong. Let's do something better." Speaking of which, I have something to say of my own.
Feel free.
I've done a couple podcasts recently. I got into one where I said something that I meant to say. I meant to say a good thing, and I wound up saying sounding like a bad thing. I was discussing one of our brothers, Valiant's Online, and what I meant to say, what they were doing something that would wind up coming out faster than we were. As things went well, it wound up sounding like I said that they were using cheaper technology, which is, it's different. It's not cheaper.
Ooh.
It has. It doesn't have some of the advantages of Unreal, but it is lighter and, well, frankly, they're going to get done first. Their Kickstarter is going on right now, and if a miracle happens, they may still pass it. They've been nothing but great to us. We've been in near constant communication with them, on and off, and they have decided not to go for the City of Heroes IP, and they're doing their own thing, which is kind of a whole Marvel 2099 thing. And we're looking forward to doing stuff like crossovers with them. I mean, literal Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, so where our stuff is fiction in their universe, and their stuff is fiction in our universe, and then there's a giant portal and you jump through it.
Oh, nice.
That'd be interesting. I was just looking up the Kickstarter as you were mentioning it, and yeah, it's going to require a lot of money in a short amount of time to get that going.
And I've got to say, they are fantastic people. They were already making a video game when City of Heroes started to shut down. And they retooled it to be a superhero video game because they love City of Heroes so much. What I said came out as sounding like, oh yeah, they just redid a video, but no, they took what they were doing and rebuilt it for the city. All
right. Well, at least you're getting that out of the way.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Anyhow, so
okay. It sounds like a bad misunderstanding.
You know, but we want Killing Joke though is I'm not really fond of the way they treated the Joker in that. Not him shooting the whole origin thing.
Right.
I've got to warn you, it's been a couple years since a couple years since I read it.
Well, I don't want to take a whole lot of time on this, but in my first read-through, I thought it was kind of interesting that they didn't delve, it seemed like, too much into an origin, but they at least delved a little bit more into the psyche of the character. It always seemed like there was little to no explanation behind his motivations other than comic book-style puns, and it seemed like they just went a little bit further as to what drives him to do what he does.
Now, the thing is, they've developed on that over the years. Every so often, he just changes his mind, which is not the worst thing.
No.
Of course, my stance on it is that the best Joker of all time is still Mark Hamill.
A lot of people that agree with you.
What he did, just the depth and variance of the character, just amazing.
I won't argue that. I really won't, because what he's done is great. Nicholson's has not stood the test of time. Heath Ledger's was fantastic. We'll find out if it does stand the test of time. Heath
Ledger's was fantastic, but I really, when they did the first, is it Begins was first?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I have a problem with reversing which ones came first. Hamill was still technically young enough that he could have actually done live action, and I would have killed for that. He's always been a very physical actor, even a voice actor, and you could actually see him, when he's doing live reads. You could see him in a movie doing the Joker just straight on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely good.
I'm not.
Even if he still had that Obi-Wan beard he's got right now.
Well, what the heck? A little grease paint over it worked for Cesar Romero. Man, I can't believe Batman 66 is out there. Great stuff. Great stuff. They really
I know, and they've been doing a fantastic job, especially the. Have you read the Batman 66 meets the Green Hornet?
Oh God, yes. That's still one of my favorite episodes of the original series. Just because you have Bruce Lee on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. The great thing is two of the guys that wrote it, Ralph Garman and Kevin Smith, they've been occasionally doing podcasts where they read it doing impersonations of different characters. I think General Gum is being done by Kevin Smith as Tom Hardy's Bane. Ralph Garman's been doing a dead-on impersonation of Adam West and Burt Ward. The best part is they didn't want to be racist with Bruce Lee and Kato. So instead of getting any kind of Asian character in their repertoire, they decided to do that in the voice of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Nice.
Oh, wait, that's racist against Austrians. I gotta say, Kevin Smith, by the way, was a huge inspiration to me. Just because of Clerks, not because of what was in it, but because he took something. He made a movie.
Right.
He made it. He took his dream. He's from Red Bank, Jersey. It's it's a place I've hung in on occasion. You know.
Yeah.
I get
well, wait, by choice or
what?
By choice?
I got friends over there. You know. I mean, it's that. I'm Westchester. I'm Westchester, New York, personally.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so you know it's in my extended area of I've got to go over there at some point. A friend from high school moved over there anyhow. But the point being, he's Clerks was my life for a good period of time, except that I was not. I wanted to work in the video store. I actually worked at a A&P grocery store.
Okay, so you were in a small Stop and Rob then.
Actually, no, it was a huge grocery store, but it was the same. It was the same thing. I mean, when you the same kind of general stupidity and the whole crew around you. Of course, that was combination of just being in the same time zone, same kind of time and space, and the same kind of absolute peon job.
I hear you. I think we've all had jobs that we regret to some degree.
No, I don't regret them. They made me a better person. They made me who I am.
The working at Chuck E. Cheese didn't make me a better person. Just made me quieter about things that tick me off.
But okay, I'll ask the obvious question. Have you discussed Five Nights at Freddy's yet?
No.
Are you familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's?
I am.
This sounds familiar, but I'm not sure why.
Okay, well, you're going to regret mentioning Chuck E. Cheese.
Jesse, am I going to regret this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
How much do you like jump scares?
Jump scares? What the frick is jump scares?
Let's put it this way. Five Nights at Freddy's is a wonderful video game about you taking over as the night guard at a Chuck E. Well, it's not a Chuck E. Cheese. It's Freddy's, but still, it's a Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
And you sit in your little office, and you watch the cameras.
Uh-huh.
And you have to do that for 5 nights.
Okay. So, what, freaky things start happening via the cameras, or?
Well, yes. Let's just get... I think I'm going to let you explore the pleasure of this for yourself. I'm not going to spoil it any further, but I think we all agree this man has to play this game.
Yes.
Boy. All of a sudden, I've been painted into a goddamn corner.
Yep.
Oh, hey, he's got the feeling already. He's got the sensation. Yes. The gentleman has to play 5 nights, and then you guys are going to do a really long podcast about all the mental scars that have just come back to life.
You're giving them too many ideas, because they had to meet most of these guys in about 6 weeks at a convention. They're probably going to sit me down in front of a computer with a video camera and just say, look, black people get scared.
You know, I think that sounds like a wonderful idea. Let's do this.
Oh shit!
Well, I'll talk to Anthony and make him do it.
Jesse.
I mean,
Yes.
how often do you get
channel
a
was
guy
born.
who actually lived this to do 5 nights? That is an awesome idea.
Oh, frick, man.
Did I mention that my family has a long history of causing really bad things to happen?
You mentioned it once or twice, yes. Oh my frick! For those of you that aren't sure who this gentleman is, he's a project lead at Missing Worlds Media, and he's been working on a new MMO called City of Titans. We've been following his development with interest for a while, but since the last time we talked to him, there was a wrinkle in an announcement that, and correct me if I have this wrong, that Missing Worlds Media may be talking to NCSoft about the City of Heroes license.
All right, okay, I'm going to make this perfectly clear.
Okay.
People who also work for Missing Worlds Media are talking to NCSoft about doing something.
Okay, so it's not a straight company buy, just some individuals.
No. In order for there to be protection of Missing Worlds Media, okay, Missing Worlds Media per se is not being involved. If you understand.
Okay.
There are some fairly good reasons for this. For example, but what's going to happen if everything goes well? And unfortunately, we're still on track. It was a little delayed by the slaughter over at Carbine. You've heard about that?
No.
No.
Oh, well, WildStar didn't do quite as well as they hoped, and quite a few people got laid off, and well, the negotiations got set back a little bit, not huge. Just we're still on track. It's just that things move as they move. It's something you have to accept when you're dealing with people across seas.
Yeah.
You're not moving at the speed of business. You're moving at the speed of however they want to talk to you.
Right.
Right.
Because they've got like a million things to do, or at least theoretically.
Yes. But what we're saying is, what would happen is that a new company would be created if everything goes well, with members from NCSoft and members who work at Missing Worlds Media to control and support the City of Heroes IP.
All right.
Which would then license it out to, for example, City of Heroes.
Okay.
Or other places that seemed interested.
Cool.
Would license it out to City of Titans. Excuse me.
Right.
So it's kind of a one arm's reach sort of thing to protect both sides involved.
All right. What is the status of this potential agreement?
Like I said, it's in deep negotiations, and
Okay.
That's really all I can say because we're working on it. We are now allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
You don't want to know the terror we went through. I'll tell you.
I'm not even going to guess.
So one of the circumstances of the discussions up to the point we made the announcement was, this cannot come out in any way, shape, or form in any media outlet.
Right. Don't talk about Fight Club type thing.
Oh no, just nobody can even guess about this one type thing.
Ooh. Okay.
And so that was responsible for quite a few moments of terror, but we're not going. Excuse me. Anyhow, but basically the point of the matter is there are a couple projects involved here. There is the theoretical company that will be holding the information. There's Missing Worlds Media and City of Titans, and then there's Atlas Park Reclaimed, which has been which has been taking the old City of Heroes graphics and putting it into Unreal 4. We can't touch it because obviously it's not our IP, but someone over there has been, and they are very slowly rebuilding City of Heroes in Unreal 4. Unfortunately, not entirely legally because they don't have a license to sell anything or own anything, so they can't sell it, but they're doing it, and we're hoping very much to literally bring the city back. Wow,
that would be a hell of an addition to what you're working on already.
Exactly, it's they're great people over there. We wanted to see if Valiance would be interested, but Valiance was not. and frankly, it makes sense for them not to be.
Because I won't lie, if you manage to pull it off to the point where some vestiges of Atlas Park are reborn, not only will there be a lot of people falling to their knees and thanking you, there will probably be a lot more people cleaning their computer screens at that moment.
I'm not making promises, but
Right.
there have been mentions of the Shadow Shard and some ideas of things people want to do.
Oh,
Just don't know.
man.
We just don't know, exactly how.
Things will
If-
pan out.
Well, basically, one of the better options that I've thought of, and I'm not promising, Atlas Park themselves may remake all City Heroes as a standalone game. That's one possibility. That would take a lot of effort. Another one would be our City of Titans first box set would, for example, be City of Hero, some City of Hero zones, some bringing back some of the stuff.
right.
Mhm.
Man,
The thing is, though, this is when I say this would be our first box set, we're talking a year after launch minimum. So we got to get the game working first, and that's what my focus
Right.
is on these days. Is if I can get the game working, then I can prove to these people that we are serious business. They're talking to us.
Well,
That's great, but we have to show before we can do.
Oh, absolutely. And what you're describing is almost the video game equivalent of Marvel's shared universe. Your game comes out and it works well, it's Iron Man. And then maybe we'll bring back this little Captain America thing that was working out, too.
Exactly.
That would be...
When I get down to it, I am making a comic universe, and a comic universe is certainly ripe for crossovers. One of the things that I want to do in the game is do literal crossovers. I've discussed this. There are a couple of things I want to do with special missions that have never been done before.
Okay, you have our attention. Can you speak about it conceptually, at least?
Oh yeah, it's simple enough. I mean,
Okay.
this parts of it are simple enough. There are a lot of retired comic book writers, retired comic book artists, and sometimes they're having and they're not getting the jobs that they used to. But they're people that you and I would recognize.
Yeah.
And they can still tell stories. So why not hire them to write a mission for our game? We sell it. We do a royalty.
Oh,
I mean, just for example,
Nice.
would you like now George Perez is still getting work, but
Yeah.
I mean, just he's one of the strongest artists I can think of offhand. Would you want a Wolfman story arc or Perez costume designs?
Oh, man.
Dude, I don't think there are words in the English language I could use to tell you
No,
how much I
have not
approve of
talked to
this
these.
idea.
I have not talked to these guys at all. So
I know.
So, but I'm just going. God, who am I thinking of? Spider Girl MC2. Tom, is it DeFalco?
That's the Falco.
Yeah, a arc done by DeFalco.
Oh, frick, man, if you could get a good story out of Peter David, the guy who did X Factor and Madrox, man, half of us would just go insane.
Me and Peter David. Well, it's better than my opinion, my feelings on John Byrne, but we won't get into it. Well,
wow.
if any of you remember Scans Daily, but really, I've heard he's a wonderful guy. I've just never dealt with him personally.
Yeah. We actually got a chance to talk to him for a few minutes.
Not
Not on the show, in person, just not in general about his stories, appreciation of, and he was pretty amicable, so I don't know.
I'm just going, I've not had the best online career with him.
It's okay.
I have to say he was nice back in the old Rec Arts Comics days, when he was still a fan. Oh God, that goes back to the early '90s. There was some magic stuff back then. JMS talking about his show as it was airing.
Oh, frick, yeah.
5, yeah. The Narn Bat Squad, if anyone remembers the Narn Bat Squad. Don't worry, that's a very old reference. No, it's really not worth even describing.
Well, it's okay. Let me ask, are you guys so far on schedule? Are you still looking for a middle of next year release?
We are on a schedule. It's as always. It's taking longer than we thought, but we're working our tails.
Right.
So, the issue here is that how can I say this? Making an MMO, there's always no need for more content. Number one, obviously.
Yeah.
But number two, once you've got the tools, you can make the more content. Making the game itself is smaller than the content, if you see what I'm saying.
Yes.
We're spending a lot of time making the tools to make the content.
Okay.
Okay? So that once the game's running, we can start pumping out stories like nobody's business.
All right.
Now, in most games, making content is the most expensive part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
If the way we're doing it, if we do it right, it will be almost as easy as writing something in Architect Entertainment.
Oh crap!
I mean, literally, we are building the world's best and most supertastic Architect Entertainment system for our mission writers.
Snap. Will there be the possibility of maybe not an initial release, but further down the line, a mission builder for the players to use as well?
It will be a more limited version of the supertastic one. It will not be the edition. I'm going to say this right now. The plan, it will be ready for mission by launch because it will be part of what we need to make things with. It will not be in the initial launch for one very simple reason. We want you guys to be playing our stories for a couple weeks before you start writing your own. It helps if you know them.
Right. It makes total sense.
That's understandable.
So, yes, we're going to artificially stall it, but we're artificially stalling it for the good of the game and the people playing. Because if we just let it out, they'll all just run to it and stay in it for 50 levels and then jump back out and go, "Where's the game, man? I leveled. I'm 50.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do now." We've all had that
fair
experience.
point.
Oh,
There's always somebody. That's a fair point.
We've actually got a solution to that, but we won't. I don't want to get into it until it's a lot closer to being done.
That's okay. We were a little more curious about how the play style is working out. You had mentioned last time you were on about the power concepts idea instead of straight power sets.
Well, actually, can you guys hit my webpage?
Yeah.
Go to the Kickstarter and check out the latest update. There's a lovely little thing to discuss there.
Uh-oh. It's not Bill Cosby, is it?
No, it's not Bill Cosby.
Oh, thank God.
I'm really pained about that. I mean, he was.
Oh,
no. I mean,
I grew up with his
Bill
nonsense
Cosby
as well.
was a very important person, and I say that not because of the Huxtables, but because of I Spy.
Right.
He was the suave, debonair, and intellectual one on the Spy show. He was, that was not a role a black actor ever played before that.
Mm.
Mid-60s, he was the cool guy.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's just really, really sad to see. I mean, it wasn't the first time I've heard these stories. These stories are not new. We've heard them. People paying attention have heard that since the 90s maybe.
Yes.
But it's still really, really. Well, your idols have feet of clay, and sometimes that's just what happens. Mm-hmm. So you guys checked out the update?
I have it open, and I see the word momentum a lot in the latest update.
Yes, momentum. This is a new feature of the game.
Uh-oh.
Hooray!
It does exactly one thing.
Okay.
It goes up, and then it goes back down.
Sounds like what happens in a lot of wrestling matches. What are you doing with momentum?
That's a very good analogy. Now, what it does, what it is okay. Let's take your health meter. All right.
Okay. Yes.
Your health meter starts at, let's pretend it's 100, and you get punched, and it goes down, and then very slowly heals back up.
Right.
Momentum starts at 0, builds when you do something combat related, and then heals back down to 0.
Oh,
so the more you punch, the higher it grows.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, standing alone in the game, that's just about all it does.
Right.
But since it doesn't do anything, we can use it. Every class has one power set and one mastery that uses momentum. Now, for example, for the tank classes, there is a mastery that makes you hit harder and do more damage the higher your momentum is.
Oh, so
I
they're like
suspect
brutes.
that might sound familiar.
Mhm.
Yeah, brutes.
Well, he's talking about something similar, but
Not the same, but similar. Now, there's another. Or, for example, if you in our class that's more control based, if you get your momentum above, let's say 80%, you can push a button, and for 60 or 70 seconds, your ability to hold people will be doubled.
Nice.
Ooh.
Dominators.
Dude, stop with the allegories. Let him explain his
No,
game.
I'm letting you guys fill that one out. But I'm just saying, the point is, we can do both of these things with exactly one meter. It's the same meter. It just does these two different things because we say, how do we want this to happen, and how do we want to use this?
Okay, so if you have a character with both punches and some type of hold ability, do the punches
no,
feed into
because not
momentum
necessarily.
Okay.
The point of it being, masteries are by your class. So if it was a class mastery that used your momentum meter, it would be for your punching or for your holding. We don't currently have one that does both. But the thing is, those would both be masteries. There are powers that use momentum too. For example, let's say mind control. Mind control. We've got a couple of variants of mind control. We're kind of toying around with how that'll work. It's going to involve some actual live play to get it to work. But the version that we want to use and yet do not have functional, because we don't have pet classes, is literal mind control. As in, you have taken, instead of just confusion where he hits the other guy, you literally take over a guy like puppet.
Steve would love that. Steve would love
Here's
that.
the fun part, though.
I would
How
love
does momentum
that. Oh
tie
my
into
god.
that? How does the momentum tie into that? Well, see, the problem is, what happens if you mind control Wolverine?
Oh, crap.
Usually goes insane and tries to kill everything.
So, that guy you mind controlled, you better not get his momentum up too high, because then he'll go completely insane on you.
Oh.
Live dangerously.
So, that's a fun little trick.
I like that.
So that's a little limitation there. That again, this is using momentum. This is him using his momentum to break free of your control, because because you just can't let him get. If you let him get to berserker rage, then you can't really control that at all.
Ooh.
So there are a whole bunch of things that momentum leads itself to. Let's say you have Cloud Sword.
Oh, crap.
Right?
Cloud what?
Cloud Sword, the Buster Blade.
Guy, pointy hair.
Oh,
Final
sorry.
Fantasy 7?
Yeah, sorry.
Let's say you have Cloud Sword and you're swinging around. Well, it's going to start off being real hard to swing, and then get faster and faster and faster. That's a power. That's a momentum building thing. Let's say that you are some kind of support character that controls the speed of other people.
Ooh. Oh, crap.
Yeah, you can boost their momentum. That's a way. You can just literally just boost their momentum. Speed boost was never like this.
Oh, that's a funny
Or
new
for that
dynamic.
matter, let's say you're some kind of guy who has radiation powers that make people sick.
Oh,
Well, you can certainly just pull that momentum right out of them.
Another leech.
Wow.
So will the enemies be working with?
More. There's more.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh no. Now think about what it means for AI. Let's say this is a simple example. Let's say you've got the big bad Dr. Taiki against you, right?
Right.
And you know that if he builds up his momentum meter, which you can actually see,
to 80%, he will set off his nuke. Now, the
Ooh,
question is, are you tough enough to take that thing face on? Maybe you are. But if you're not, you can run and gun and fire at him and keep dodging and keep his momentum meter down, because he'll be gunning back at you if you use the terrain properly to fire all the time. And since it goes off every time it raises when he fires, if you keep him away from you long enough, you will keep the momentum meter down, and he won't be able to pull that nuke out. So you can literally control the flow of battle based on what you're doing to him. There are power sets that there are theoretical power sets that do all kinds of things, like literally transforming from this is ice power set to, your momentum has gone over 50%. It transforms to a fire power set. That one doesn't exist because those specific examples don't work. We're trying to find one that does, if you see what I'm saying.
Yes.
I mean, the technology of them transforming into different powers makes sense. We just haven't found a power that it works right for. We've been thinking about something that's direct damage versus whole
power based on that.
And it also sounds like running and gunning is going to be possible in the game. It's not going to be just static action.
Sorry?
You said running and gunning.
Exactly. This allows us to do all sorts of interesting things, without actually going. It allows us to do interesting things without going into the Twitch play. It allows for more intelligent play, but not Twitch. And I gotta tell you though, momentum, anything less than a boss, it's not going to matter that much. You're going to just stomp. You're just going to stomp on them a lot anyhow. I mean, momentum for it's just. I mean, he punches you and then you hit him with a hammer. He's gone. Okay, fine. I mean, it's not that. It's not effective for everyone, and we know it's not effective for everyone because frankly, you just squashed them all and lit them on fire. We're happy with that. but
very satisfying.
Imagine how it behaves against Godzilla.
Oh crap!
Well, the thing is, that momentum meter. Godzilla does AOE's when he stomps. He just did all of it. Oh dear, it's spiked, and here comes the flame breath. So, you bet you want to stay out of his way. Maybe stay around his tail area. Go up quite so much, and so you keep him from breathing flame on everyone, provided you can keep everyone intact. Or maybe you're tough enough to take the flame. It's up to you if you're tough enough. But it allows you to have more dynamic control of what's going on.
Yeah, I can almost hear the yelling that certain people would give over microphones about instructions and shit like that. Oh my god, this is blowing me the frick away. How many zones are you planning to have ready to go when you're all set?
Part of it is the momentum meter itself. Nothing. But almost nothing. We can use it for all sorts of fun stuff. And all it does is go up and down. Well, I just told you a whole bunch of the fun stuff.
Oh, okay.
Here's one that we're working on we don't have the tech for. Shrinking.
We're
Raise
talking
your
like
momentum,
Ant-Man
don't
Atom?
shrink. Get faster.
Oh! Man, that's... What kind of...
Here's another one. Guess what? What is the single biggest problem in World of Warcraft, socially?
Trolls?
I mean, I use the word biggest on purpose.
Leroy Jenkins?
I was going to go for people parking their mammoths over the mailbox.
Oh, okay, I know. I remember
problem.
that.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I actually don't.
It's literally a big problem. Anyhow, let's say that we do giant growth as a power set, which is something I do want to do. Actually, more as a mastery, but that's beside the point. You build up your momentum, your powers start getting knocked back, and then when you get really big, they become AOE's every punch you do.
Oh.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. The thing is, if you're 50 feet tall, if we just let people hit about and be 50 feet tall, they would be sitting in front of City Hall. They would be, dancing on top of everything. And you'd have just, a city of people the size of skyscrapers trying to have sex with the skyscrapers. Am I wrong?
No, not at all.
What would it take to succeed at that? I'm sure some people are wondering.
Anyhow, so the point of it is, with momentum, we can key your height to the momentum. The more you fight, the taller you get. Mm-hmm. But once you stop fighting, you shrink back to normal. This means that you won't get stuck inside a location, even if we make it so that if we accidentally get you to a part where you grow bigger than the location, you wait 30 seconds, your momentum decays, you shrink back to normal.
Okay, understand.
So no blocked doors, no blocked mailboxes, but you still get to be as tall as you want, or at least as tall as you can be.
I was going to ask if ceilings were going to impede that a bit, because growing to 50 feet tall in an office building would be a little messy.
Well, yeah, we are going to have inside. The game is smart enough to say, the ceilings here are 10 feet tall. You get to be 8, actually 12 and 10. But still, if you may get big enough to be stuck without a door, stuck outside a doorway. So you just wait for 30 seconds, shrink to go through the doorway, meet up with the rest of the team.
All right, Jesse gets to be Black Goliath.
Now, I got to tell you, though, this is one of those things that needs serious UI testing. Because, frankly, if people keep getting stuck in doorways and then having to wait, maybe it's not fun. It's possible. We want to do it. But we got to find it. We got to make sure there's fun in it. And not frustration.
Oh, man.
And we need to be hiring for that.
Yeah, really? Actually, that's a question I've had from a couple of people, is that they want to know if there's any way that they can get referred to as volunteers to help assist in any way in the project.
Well, we are not ready for QA testing. When we are, trust me, people will know.
Yeah.
It should pass through Twitter in about 20 seconds. You know that. We are looking for experienced programmers and experienced 3D graphics artists. Mm-hmm. And the place to send that question would be to our contact email address, contact@missingworldsmedia.com.
Okay. Well, that's good for people to know, at least.
We are functional. If you see what I mean, we have a good operating team. We could use some specialists. We could use some people with good training. But it's all volunteer status until we get the game going and we can pay everyone lots of money.
Obvious. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Now, your game will not have, if I'm understanding correctly, will there be or will there not be set classes, or will it just be dependent on what kind of powers you pick for your character?
Yes and no. We are going to have set classes. What the set class determines is what your power options are. So, for example, if you wanted to get, say, a character that was melee/armor, that would be our gladiator class. If you want a character who was armor/melee, that would be our tank class. So there are classes. We tried working out class lists. We looked at champions, and then we said, no, we're going to actually strongly type this, make people choose a role, and then we're going to let it open it up as far as we can. However, if you've noticed, inside that armor/melee class, we have managed to put the tank, the brute, and about 12 other different variants that have not been imagined in history by the mastery. Mm-hmm. We also, by the way, have the brute power in our gladiator, our melee/armor class. So you could be a very tanky gladiator or a very scrappy tank.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah. So
all kinds of.
Yeah, I would say there's crossover. There's a whole bunch of things that can and will happen. And, of course, we will be adding more sets. Right now we do not have a control/control set. There are people who want nothing but support. And we're like, well, we could do that. We have the power sets ready, or at least designed. But the thing is, I consider that an advanced thing because you can't really advance on your own so much.
Right.
It might be frustrating. So we're going to save that for like third or fourth update, just so that people get experience and have the other options first.
Okay.
Now, there are things that we can do that we aren't in order to let the game breathe properly.
Okay.
That being said, so yes, there are classes. However, there are more options inside each class for customization that let you do things that might have been thought of as different classes previously. Furthermore, there are very, very rough sketches for prestige classes that literally let you build your own powers, but we're not sure that works yet, and probably won't be there for for a year or two after launch either. But technically possible. So yes, you could literally build your own powers. This is on top of our previous designs that say yes, you can pick your own animation and place of emission for your powers. You can have your powers come from your eyes, from your hands, from your mouth,
so cool,
or any of a number of other locations. Your melee powers can come from your fists. Can come from a sword. Can come from a gun. Can come from not sure about the gun. Your blast can come from a gun, or your blast can even come from a pet you have riding on your shoulder. There are a whole.
My God, you can have a Pikachu in the game.
Oh crap!
Well, riding on having well, obviously not Pikachu, but that would be our pet class. Which yes, we can. It is designed so that you can skin them. Designing your own pets may be a little bit not at first, but it's an eventual feature. Which means that yes, you can have clowns eventually.
Killer clowns.
We are doing things like if we are not doing pet classes at launch because we don't have the money, and because it requires every other single feature of the game to be functioning first, because it requires so many different things to go right. But
all right.
The goal is, we are going to strongly theme the power sets so that, for example, you can have horde of little critters, one or two big critters, or mind control that guy over there and have him punch people for you. So now, if you have a horde of little critters, they can be Pokemon, not actually Pokemon, but you know what I mean. Yes. They can be wind-up toys. They can be a horde of rats or a horde of bugs. But it's still the horde of little critters power set.
I'm going to make a horde of Kardashians. That'll scare everybody away. God. Around how many different types of powers are going to be available per class when the game launches?
Well, that's a difficult question because it depends on how hard it winds up being for us to actually make the physical power sets with the animations and all that.
Okay.
The current sheet has 5 for each class in the first wave. The first wave is not necessarily at launch. It is the first wave. We may be up to the third or fourth wave at launch. We may not.
Oh. Wow.
But we're looking at 5 power sets per each segment of a class. So melee 5, armor 5, and yes, they're currently armor would be kind of heavily shared with the other side. Except that, by the way, each segment of a class has one unique power to its own. So even though gladiators and tanks share melee offense, tanks have one power that gladiators do not, and gladiators have one power that tanks do not.
Okay.
So we kind of started with diversification and went backwards.
All right. No, I like that, actually. That was one of the few things I didn't like about City of Heroes' eventual consistent development, was that they would release little ekings of powers for different classes, and if you just weren't interested at that time, too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
Well, it's a matter of properly theming what you do,
Mm-hmm. It wasn't one of those things where it's a deal breaker. It was just a case of, well, darn it, I would like to have something new.
And what we're doing is, we one of the greatest lessons we got was City of Heroes. I mean, one of the greatest lessons we had specifically was seeing where City of Heroes had problems, like pre-cooking
Right.
colors, and for that matter, limited diversification, and going, let's do this. You know that answer that took them 10 years to get? Why don't we start with that? Ooh, hey, yeah, let's not screw up. I like this plan. So, we do not have any secrets from them, but they expressed a lot of things in their, and they were really free about talking to people, which is a wonderful thing, which is what created the community that was so strong. But in the fact that they talked to people, the people learned a lot of stuff about how they design things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the screw-ups, like, I'm Castle, and I have no idea how the aggro system works because it makes no sense. We're documenting stuff. I mean, you remember that, right? Castle going, honestly, I really don't know how this thing works. What the heck did they do when they wrote this?
Yes.
Which was kind of mind-blowing, going, you can't figure this out. No, I cannot figure out how this thing works. I'm like, Castle is not a stupid guy. It was just really, really messed up. It took years. We're documenting very strongly on this.
Good.
We know exactly why we do each thing.
All right. You guys have anything else you want to ask him? Because he did allude that there may be a moon segment of the game. May actually get that underwater level we've been waiting for.
No. I'm going to tell you.
No?
The underwater level... we are learning from experience, and I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really likes the underwater level.
Oh.
I'm not saying we won't have underwater tech. I'm not saying that there won't be places where you can go swimming. I'm just going, really, the underwater level just doesn't seem fun much.
Aw.
That's unfortunate.
I'm one of those explorer-likes. I like wandering around places.
Yeah, Shadow Shard is like my favorite place.
I didn't say there's going to be stranger stuff. I'm just saying specifically the water level just never seemed to work for people. Champions is, Atlantis for Champions, just not really, not a winner.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of things about Champions that didn't work out.
I know, but there's Guild Wars 2.
Mm.
There's WildStar. I mean, we can do our best to make it fun, but to be honest, I'd rather focus on the moon base.
Okay.
In that case, with the moon, are you
Nazis?
I mean,
yes.
Moon Nazis.
No, I was just wondering if you alter the gravity when you go to the moon.
Ooh,
yes,
yeah.
that would be obvious.
Would that be a thing?
Let's just, there's things we plan to do, and they should all be fun. But we talked about and said, there's a lot of ways to do underwater zone badly. And until we have a really good idea on how to do it well, let's just not. Now, I am going to point out that there are two huge rivers in Titans. Well, really one huge river in Titan City, and there will be things to go explore and go swimming in. It's just not going to be, all that full of enemies zone.
Okay.
Gotcha.
There are underwater enemies. I mean, I'm not going to. We've mentioned them. They tend to attack the amusement park.
Yes.
But we're not really going to just be building a whole underwater enemy zone because it's just not a thing yet.
Well, hopefully they won't be attacking every hour because we discussed. That's why we don't understand why people live in Gotham. Something bad goes down there every 15 minutes.
Well, I am going to say that the plan is that you can in fact ride the roller coaster.
Sweet.
Nice.
Actually, the roller coaster is fun. It's one of our early Super Tech locations. Do you remember ski runs?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Super Roller Coaster is actually sort of one of our early equivalents to a ski run.
Oh, nice. That would be a lot of fun with an Oculus.
Oh boy.
Actually, probably would. Force field luge type thing,
Yes.
With it, we're hoping it works. We haven't tried it yet, type thing. But That's the amusement park is literally going to be a place where you can go and do random stuff.
Oh, sweet.
So if we get bored and throw mini games in, it's a place to collect mini games to go do things.
All right, I'm looking forward to this, but I think we've taken up enough of your time for an evening. But we're definitely going to need to get together again as things finally start to lock in and the Titans
I'm
is
hoping
close
you guys
to...
will see something sooner than you think. I'm hoping.
Awesome. It's just what we needed to hear. Well, thank you again for coming by, and hopefully next time we talk, we'll be close to just saying, so when, where, and how much are we going to do this for? Thanks again, Chris. If you guys want to follow the Kickstarter, you can look it up. You can look up the Phoenix Project, City of Titans, in Kickstarter, and you'll get all the updates that are available.
Now, to make this clear, the Kickstarter is closed, but we are still putting out weekly updates. They may shift to bi-weekly in a little bit. However, support Valiance Online. They're doing if you can. And finally, I had a find. Oh yes, we will in the future probably start a second, some sort of second effort for money. But we are really making sure that we put something out so you guys know that we're actually doing work first.
Excellent. We'll keep track of that. Thanks again for coming by. I know it's late where you are.
It's 9:00.
All right. Well, you enjoy your evening, and we will talk to you again.
Take care. And out. Out?
See ya.
Out.
Yep. Yeah. Later.
Well, that was enlightening.
Absolutely. Learned about 10 times as much stuff as we learned last time. Holy cow. Now, I want a game. Now I want a game. I mean, half the things he's describing isn't just that we're going to be playing a game. It makes it sound like the more important part is we're going to be creating characters.
We're going to create characters we're going to remember for the rest of our lives, telling our grandchildren. Remember when I played Slam
that's
Dance?
great. Yeah, I could just imagine my grandkids. Grandpa keeps muttering about this slam dance thing and metal buns and shit. What's wrong with him?
Oh, just wait until he starts talking about rock.
You know what? Fuck you. He's a legend. All right, so that's it. That's all we got for the show. I am releasing everyone for Thanksgiving because it's really unreasonable to expect everybody to be in one place, even the Sunday after Thanksgiving. We'll go ahead and go forward with a Killing Joke next time we get together, which will be, that'll be December.
Okie dokie.
Wow.
Man, it is amazing that things are marching forward this fast. So thank you very much. Special thank you again to Chris Hare for coming on the show. Really appreciate the repeated visits and really love the information on City of Titans. If he doesn't make this game, frick, I might try and put together the money just so he makes it for me, frankly.
I'll second that.
Yeah. And really looking... well, actually, I'm part of the Kickstarter, so he's sending me something.
Me too.
Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing from you again. Enjoy your Thanksgiving and your holiday season, and enjoy your family because, not to sound morbid, but you never know what the next year is going to be like. Have a great one. I am Jeremy.
Jesse.
And V.
Take care, everybody.
We gotta get you to play Five Nights at Freddy's, man.
Dude, fuck you, Blue.
I'm glad no one made me watch this, or play this, or whatever.